Friday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, as always, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the lovely province of Alberta. How are you doing? We are on the eve of the Stanley Cup final. It is the Oilers and the Florida Panthers. It's a media day today, and obviously, you know what, they get asked about a lot of different things, which is totally fine. You're supposed to have a little fun with it, and that's what they'll do. And then they'll get set, they'll get focused, and away they go. And it's interesting, you know, reading and seeing a lot of things. All I'll say is this: there's a lot of people in the hockey world that I think. And it's natural for human beings, but a lot of people, like I was amazed reading interviews about, wow, Edmonton's not that good 5-on-5. And I'm like, dude, there's so much available data for you. Even if you don't watch the games, I get it. You live on the East Coast. The games are too late for you. But to suggest that Edmonton isn't good 5-on-5, like what? I don't get it. Like, so we'll see how the series plays out. Right? Hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Florida is infinitely better than I think, but to suggest that Edmonton isn't good 5-on-5 is rather dumb, right? Frankly, it just is. So we'll see how this series plays out. It should be a lot of fun. We'll break it down. That was a lot of our guests today. Also, congratulations, Mr. 49, Dwayne Mandryk. It was announced last night, and what a speech by Dwayne. He is going into the Builders category on the Elks Wall of Honor. Well-deserved. Some would say long overdue. Could happen right away. Valid. But Dwayne, you know what, talked about how he was 15 years old. And he went in there just to start. And some guy didn't want to do the job, didn't want to clean up the dirty laundry. And so he got fired, and they said, hey, kid, do you want a job? And he had to go home and goes, well, I got to ask my mom. You got to remember, he's 15. He's in high school. In grade 10. And so he went to high school. He was helping the high school football team. And then he would go because they practiced back at night in the 70s. Because lots of guys work during the day. And so he did that for 3 years. And then at the age of 20, he got promoted. But then at the age of 20, Norm Kimball gave him the full-time gig. He was the head guy at 20 years of age. And stayed with them for 49 years. And I'll tell you, you see the admiration from the players on, you know what, the Dwayne equipment guys, you know what, the trainers, they do so much for a team. And, you know, the smart players really recognize how important those guys are to their success. And obviously Dwayne had so much experience with footwear and different gadgets that, you know, help guys who could maybe be banged up and, you know, protect them a little bit with certain different addition to their equipment, etc. It was amazing. It was a great speech. For anybody who was there last night, I think you would agree. Connor, I know you were there last night. Actually, Donovan, the entire Sports 1440 crew was there. All of us. And Lacey representing the ladies, which was nice. And you know, but that speech really, you know, perfect way to end the evening with Dwayne Mandryk getting honored.
Yeah, it was, Gregor. I think everyone would say overdue, perhaps, but great to have him back there. The speech was fantastic. And, you know, the whole night as a whole was great. Gizmo was hilarious. Damon Allen, who's going to be on the show today, was great. For me, getting to watch Ricky Ray, one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time, was very cool. And then after just walking around and seeing them right there in person, everywhere you looked, you saw kind of a memorable Elks Eskimos alumni. And it was just a great evening on the whole. And shout out to Dave Jamieson for doing a good job up there, kind of running things kind of on the hot stoves.
Yeah, it was good. Average job, as Jamo would say. Average job. Jamo. No, kidding, of course. It was great. You know what? Fun. I really like Gizmo Williams. Gizmo Williams for me was... He was, you know what, that had Ray and Riley and Giz and Damon Allen and obviously Warren Moon alongside Hugh Campbell. Very good, but I just thought Giz kind of stole the show when he was up there. No surprise, anybody who knows Giz is a big personality, but, you know, they're talking about him and kind of how he came in and, you know what, they're talking like, geez, we got to find a spot for this guy. and wasn't a running back, wasn't a receiver, but he became kind of like the specialized kick returner. And really, the league kind of created a position because he was that dominant. But I loved what he said and how he delivered it. Hey, man, like Ali said, best there ever was, best there ever will be. People might debate who's the best quarterback. No one's debating who's the best kick returner. And it's true, right? He had 26 returns. Next closest is 13. He had 28 called back. But, he was laughing when he said it, but it was truthful. It was very, very good. And you know what? A kickoff to a season that hopefully for the green and gold is and their fans is more successful on the field. Clearly, right? You can do things. There's the renovations in the stadium, but ultimately you got to win some games. At the end of the day, you know what? Fans enjoy a winner just a little bit more. Not always. It's not the only thing that has to happen, but it's fairly important. So, you know what? We'll talk about that. Damon Allen, of course, will join us in our number 3 today. Also, we got Scott Burnside, who's going in, got the Elmer Ferguson Award for Scott. For a lot of people who maybe don't know, and that's what I'm looking forward to having Scott on the show, is Scott, before he was a sports writer, he had written, and I want to say like hundreds of articles because he was covering the Paul Bernardo case, which obviously was, pretty salacious case in Canadian history. Awful what he did, and as well as Amoka, but definitely him. And so we'll talk to Scott about that and the transition, and then the big award, and obviously the Stanley Cup final. We got Sean Brown will join us, Lori-Ann Muenzer, Craig Button as always will be by. Spec will join us from Florida. We got LT. We're going to talk a little golf as well today. So man, it is a loaded show. You can get involved 833-401-1440. Very simple today on the text line. Oh, by the way, do you want to go to the Elks game tomorrow? You a little stressed? We got 2 pairs of tickets for you to go tomorrow. Great seats. Now you can go 100%. Please don't text in if you can't go. Don't be like, yeah, I got to ask first. No, make sure 100% you can go. So you have 2 seats, you and a friend. So if you want to go, just text in Elks with your name, and Cons will pick 2 winners here in the next 10 minutes. They'll get back to you, and then they'll send you the tickets. So super easy. 833-401-1440. Make sure you can go, please. We don't want to waste the seats. I know some people are like, no, I can't go. I got other plans. Fine. But if you want to go see the home opener, and by the way, if you have tickets to the game from 11:30 until 1:30 in the field house, all of the alumni are going to be there. Michael Riley, Ricky Ray, Warren Moon, Tracy Ham, Matt Dunnigan, Damon Allen. What a collection of quarterbacks, by the way. And then there's, it's lots of other guys around, lots of great players. Siamondo Sewell there last night. Guy still looks like he can bench about 800 pounds, right? Actually had a really good chat with Simeon Rotier, of course, one of the O-linemen from the 2015 Grey Cup championship team. He's farming now. Attaboy, I love it. We had a good chat about that. You know what? Jed Roberts, Gizmo Williams, Trent Brown. There's lots and lots of alumni for many different generations that will be there. And with your ticket, you can go say hi and mingle with them. Also, later on, we'll get into the series because, hey, in the final hour, we'll have a little fun with predictions. Right? What do you think's going to happen in this series? How confident are you, Oilers fans? Is it a quiet confidence, a nervous confidence? Maybe a, oh my God, I hope they win confidence. We'll see. But I can't wait for the series to start, man. That's all I know. It's going to be, I think it's going to be great. Hey guys, it's funny how many think that the Oilers are going to be intimidated by Bennett and Tkachuk. Guess they don't know what happened in Calgary from Spaghetti. Yeah, I agree with you, Spaghetti. I think the intimidation angle makes no sense to me. Can you ever remember a time Connor McDavid looked intimidated? Leon Draisaitl? Evander Kane definitely doesn't get intimidated physically. Zach Hyman? Ekholm? Nurse? Are they going to be intimidated? Can Florida make it a tad uncomfortable? Maybe. Right? They're going to want to hope so. But Edmonton's going to try to make it uncomfortable for Florida as well. You got to remember, Florida was the 26th highest scoring team 5-on-5 in the NHL in the regular season. They were not a dominant. They were dominant defensively, right? That's their thing. They are very good defensively. But the teams they beat to get here, the Rangers were not a good 5-on-5 team. Tampa Bay was minus 18 in the regular season 5-on-5 as a team. Minus 18. That's usually, if you have a red number 5-on-5, you're not making the playoffs normally. But they did. And then they lost in the first round in kind of a whimper. Now, the other thing is, if you go back and I was watching, anybody who was watching that series, go look at the missed chances Tampa Bay had because their power play was unreal. It was first in the NHL all year long. You go back and look in the first 3 games of that series. Tampa Bay could have won because of their power play. They missed the net on some glorious chances on the man advantage. And to me, we'll see how this series goes with Edmonton. Can they get some power plays? And they don't need a lot. We saw that against Dallas. How many power play chances they have against Dallas? How about less than 2 per game? They had 11. They still won. The Oilers aren't the Oilers of 21 and 22 and maybe even 23 where they were reliant so heavily on their power play. They're just not. That's not who they are. Obviously, you want your power play to win or help you win, but they don't need their power play to win games consistently. You might need your power play to win one game. I think that's valid, right? We saw that in the Dallas series near the end. You need your power play, right? Game 6. That's what won them the game, their power play. And Stuart Skinner defensively. But 5-on-5, I think the Oilers feel pretty comfortable, but they can hang with the Panthers. Panthers are really good defensively. The Oilers are really good offensively. But the Oilers are also pretty good defensively 5-on-5. So I think it's going to be a great series. But I'm sorry, I do not buy for a moment that Florida has a distinct advantage 5-on-5. I don't, man. It does not make sense to me whatsoever. Hey, Gregor, did you read LeBrun's article that 4 out of 33 head coaches and GMs pick the Oilers? These are not armchair experts. I'd say the Oilers are huge underdogs. Jag. How many of those guys watch the Oilers regularly, Jag? Right? How many people, quote, experts, pick Dallas to win? You got to remember, the Edmonton Oilers, how many of them watched the late night playoff games? Honestly, how many? I don't know. And there's some coaches, well, it's an Eastern team. I want to win. They don't see the team very often. Now, Western Conference coaches, sure. We'll find out if they're right. But I'm never a huge, by the way, I don't like anonymous polls. I think they're the worst. Can I just say that? Why can't you, if you're a coach of another team, say, hey, this is who I think is going to win? What's the problem? Right? Why do you have to do it anonymously? I hate it. I've always hated it. I don't like it. Oh, anonymous poll. This is what they like. No, put your name to it. What's the big deal? Hey, I think Florida's going to win. I don't think that's a terrible pick. Florida's a good team. Right? But I'm just not a fan. I don't put much stock into anonymous polls. I don't care who's doing it. So we'll see who's right or wrong. But all I know is, so you're telling me that it's that drastic of a mismatch based on what? Just enlighten me on what makes it that drastic of a mismatch. That's all I want to hear. Show me the data. Show me the video. Show me the numbers that say, wow. I know people say, well, hey, Gregor, the Oilers lost to Florida twice. You're right. Now, who was their goalie in both of those games? Did Stuart Skinner play in either game? No, he did not. When were those games played? Were they played early in Knobloch's tenure? Yep. Were they played in 2024? No. Games that were played 7 months ago, I don't put a whole bunch of stock in for any team. Hey, Brian Savage was always my favorite example. God, if Brian Savage could play games in October every year, he'd have been a 50-goal scorer. So we'll see. 2:16, we'll return. Scott Burnside will join us next on the Jason Gregor Show. Make sure to get your thoughts in 833-401-1440 in our E-Well inbox. Stop in at E-Well as they cheer on the Oilers and their run to their 6th Stanley Cup. ewell.ca, your partner in power.
Try the new extra-large New York-style crispy pepperoni pizza only from Papa John's. Get you some of that crispy, curly, cuppy pepperoni on top of an extra-large New York-style crust pizza with creamy tomato sauce and a 3-cheese blend. This ain't around forever, so walk fast like you're in NYC and order one now. The extra-large New York-style crispy cuppy-roni pizza for just $22.99, only at Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, better get you some.
The playoffs are wild. We all know that. And this year, Play Alberta is making it even wilder. Make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10-plus odds boost on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win a pair of lower bowl or even exclusive sweet tickets for an Oilers playoff game just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at playalberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
This spring, experience innovation on the road at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, lease from 0.99% or save up to $4,000 on select models for qualifying loyal Volvo Cars Edmonton customers. Plus, save $5,000 on all new and demo 2024 XT60 Recharge plug-in hybrid models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com or visit 1205 101st Street Southwest.
A premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development is proud to be entering its 8th season of independent borderless hockey, featuring provincial and cross-province competition with showcase style, regular season gameplay, and a strong commitment to individual skill development. It's an attractive option for those seeking family life balance. The Hockey Super League offers opportunities for both male and female athletes born between 2011 and 2016. Visit hockeysuperleague.com for more information.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
I'm Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
And I'm Zach Hyman.
And when we're not making juicy, sweet passes
or having my goals disallowed,
we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling.
You know, guys used to call me a plumber.
And now they call you an AC repairman.
Nice.
Hey, guys, you're not here to fix air conditioners. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well.
Okay.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
We've finished construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing team reporting. We test your commercial operations using tools like infrared to ensure safe operation. Trust us to prevent potential calamity before it strikes.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Warmer, brighter days can make you crave something to sip. Booster Juice is busting out booster mixers, the summer fixers. Cold, tasty sippers in 5 vibrant varieties. The Mango Teaser, Berry Teaser, Almighty Acai, Game Set Matcha, and Oranges and Cream. Try all 5 and brighten your day a sip at a time. And try the Cookies and Cream Booster Ball, the yummy little bundle of almond butter, maple syrup, coconut, and gluten-free cookies. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
It's City Ford's spring clear-out event. Get massive discounts, 0% financing, drive now, pay later. Get up to $10,000 credit card cash. Just pick what's best for you.
During this event, get massive discounts up to $22,000 on brand new F-150s, up to $8,000 on Edges and Broncos, up to $4,700 on brand new Escapes.
Get a 2024 Bronco Sport for $209 bi-weekly, or a 2023 F-150 Super Crew for only $297 bi-weekly.
We have 17 previously owned SUVs, all for under $500 a month, like a 2020 all-wheel drive Escape for only $187 bi-weekly. Plus, we have a huge selection of used trucks. Get a 2021 F-150 Super Crew for only $258 bi-weekly.
Exclusive to City Ford. With every purchase, spin and win a barbecue, pressure washer, TV, pizza oven, or a trip to Vegas.
Bottom line is, at City Ford, prices have been slashed. Payments cut in half. And with 3 licensed appraisers on duty, you'll get more for your trade. But it's only at City Ford on the St. Albert Trail.
Edmonton Stingers basketball face the Niagara Lions 9th at the Edmonton Expo Center. Enjoy affordable family fun with a $5 food and drink menu and free parking. Tickets start at just $20. Visit thestingers.ca/tickets.
2:21 on a positive Friday. How are you? Oilers fans should be in a positive mood. The Stanley Cup final begins tomorrow. Also, chatted with a member of the 06 team today, and will be a guest coming up very soon on the show with some great stories. Catch about his time in the NHL and talk a little Stanley Cup, so that'll be a lot of fun. As always, it's fun to read your text, 833-401-1440. The Con Man, did you get your winners for the Elks tickets?
Oh, yeah. We've got Doug, Josh, and we had another couple pairs actually pop up. So we got Kyle some as well. A lot of winners today.
Okay, well, positive Friday for some of them. I like it.
Pays to listen.
I like it. Pays to listen. Pays to text in. Good for you. Enjoy the game. Remember, 11:30 to 1:30 in the field house if you want to mingle with some of the greatest Elks and Eskimo players of all time. They'll all be there. Now, let's go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. And if, hey, maybe you're up late and need a little grease in the morning, $5 will get you hash brown coffee and egg McMuffin right now. And also, if you're just driving around, you need a pick-me-up if you like purple. The Grimace Shake right now, limited time, only at McDonald's. And we are joined by a gentleman who just got a pretty big honor. He was announced as he's going to go into the Hockey Hall of Fame in the media category as the Elmer Ferguson Award winner for excellence in hockey journalism. Scott Burnside joins us now. Scotty, congratulations, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. It's a little bit overwhelming, and but yeah, no, it's been a wild week or so. So. But always happy to join you, talk a little hockey. You talk about the 06 final. It brings back some very fond memories for me. I love that series. It was a ton of fun to cover, and seems like only yesterday, but of course it wasn't.
Yeah, well, the good news, Scott, if you're going to the draft, I always love how if we go out for dinner again, like we did the last time at the draft, that now the Elmer Ferguson Award winner, I heard the tradition is they buy, so I can't wait for that. So that'll be awesome.
Really? I that must be in the fine print. I haven't gone through all that yet, but
Frank
I'm glad you
likes to
mentioned
hide
it.
that. Yeah, Frank likes to hide that at the bottom, right? Only for select people, though. So you got to it's like the extra fine print. So it's good. You've covered a lot of Stanley Cup finals, but before I get to that, I do want to talk about, because a lot of people, a lot of our listeners are big sports fans, and they've read Scott Burnside and listened to him for years about hockey. But before you got into hockey, like you had written, I kind of went down a rabbit hole the other day after I was looking at kind of some of your past stuff, and man, you were covering the Bernardo case heavily in its heyday. Kind of take me through how that was for you. Like, that was one of the biggest cases in Canadian history.
Yeah, no, yes, I was a news guy for a long time, and started in the business at the Windsor Star. I'm sort of a Windsor guy, Essex, Ontario, and had been there for a number of years covering news, and then I ended up moving to Toronto, and the Toronto Sun. I basically was pulling random shifts for the Toronto Sun, and a good pal of mine that I had worked with at the Windsor Star, Al Cairns, tremendous crime writer. He passed away a number of years ago, sadly, but Al put in a good word for me, and we started to work together in 1992 after the disappearance and later the discovery of Kristen French's body in 1992, and of course, I was linked to the disappearance and the murder of Leslie Mahaffey in 1991. And so for a long time, Al and I were part of, like a lot of reporters and certainly people following the case who was doing this, and, the search for a Camaro, which turned out not to be an actual Camaro. And all those kinds of things. And then, the arrest of Paul Bernardo in February of '93 and all the way through the trial, where his ex-wife, Carla Homolka, testified against him. And we did write a book we worked together, the two of us, called Deadly Innocence. And it's a very, it was a long time ago, but it also is, I've been involved with a couple of documentaries since then. One during the pandemic, where it's humbling to try and remember all of the details for something that happened a long time ago. But it certainly was, a very formative part of my career as a journalist, and to cover something as horrific as that, and the pain that the families, of course, went through and continue to go through for the rest of their lives. It's certainly something that was very had a deep impact on my life and my career.
Scott Burnside joins us. So, Scott, what made you make the change from news to sports?
Yeah, it was it was at the end of the Bernardo trial, and we've been covering it for a long time, and we had been writing the book, and the book came out, and I really was just looking to do something different. My old, I guess not alma mater, but the Windsor Star was looking for a columnist. It was at a time when the Southern newspaper chain was, they had money to spend, and they were looking for a columnist to come and cover both the Detroit teams, as well as, because there's such a strong following for the Toronto teams in the Windsor area, sort of bounce between the two. And my timing couldn't have been better. I ended up covering the Stanley Cup runs for the Detroit Red Wings in 1997 and 98. So I was there for a number of years, and then went to the National Post, and from there to ESPN. And we wonder about making that kind of transition. Lots of sports people have only been sports people, which is absolutely fine, but certainly was a good learning curve for me. But something I certainly have no regrets, to make that kind of jump, and to, have had the opportunities to cover lots of interesting hockey stories, and 3 Olympics and World Cup hockey, and, all the playoff runs. It's, yes, I consider myself a very fortunate person.
Scott Burnside joins us. So, Scotty, now we'll get to the Stanley Cup final, and lots of angles now. Obviously, it's almost been like a Super Bowl week, really, because of the time off between the conference finals and the Stanley Cup final, which means both teams will be as healthy as possible at this time of year. What do you make of it? What's the things that pique your interest the most heading into this series?
Yeah, I'm excited for it, and I'm a bit cynical. Maybe I'm like the old guy shaking his fist at the cloud, but I was like, oh my God, the Oilers are done Sunday. Basically, wait a full week before Game 1 Saturday night in Sunrise. But I was doing did another hit earlier today, and Eric DeHatrick, my longtime colleague and friend, pointed out, and I think quite accurately, there is the good thing about having the break. Even it sucks for fans, and I'm sure the players would prefer to have played Wednesday, maybe. Anyway, the team should be healthy, as you point out, and this should be. Maybe it gives a slight edge to Florida because they play such a physical style. But I think for both these teams coming off 6-game conference final wins, a lot of low-scoring games, some overtime, really, I think the hockey should be at a very high level to begin with. I think there's sometimes a feeling out process because the East and the West teams don't, what's the history with Florida and Edmonton? Well, there really isn't one unless you count the Matthew Tkachuk hatred from everyone in Edmonton. But I think the level of hockey should be extremely high. I think both, listen, Florida understands exactly what it means and what it means to lose at this level. I just think the Oilers are, I don't know whether team of destiny is the right way to put it, but I just love what Connor McDavid has done. And I love what this team has done when, they've been confronted with moments where it was like, geez, is this team really that good? And, a wobble against Vancouver, Stuart Skinner having to, take a reset and then coming back and playing arguably the best hockey of his life. being able to win games 2-1 like they did in Game 6 against Dallas when they probably didn't deserve to win that game. I just think there's been such growth in this team, and I don't believe that there will be any sense of intimidation about the Stanley Cup final. Media day is going on today, or was going on today in Florida. I don't think this Edmonton team is going to flinch in the face of the stage. I don't think they will, and I think that's because the leadership is so zoned in now. I don't think there's room for the deer in the headlights. I don't think that'll happen. So, I think it's going to be a great tilt. It should be a ton of fun to watch. I picked the Oilers in 7, which probably should alarm a lot of Oiler fans, but I think it's going to be great theater. I can't wait for it to start.
Ultimately, what was the reason why you picked the Oilers?
I felt, and in watching Connor McDavid and watching Leon Draisaitl and Zach Hyman, and you look at the numbers here, and I think it's 5 of the top 7 point producers in the playoffs are Edmonton Oilers. I know everyone loves the depth of the Florida Panthers, just like they love the depth of the Dallas Stars. They are a hard team to play against. They are a wagon. There is no question about it. But I just think the high-end skill and leadership from that Oiler team, and I do think there's been a lot of growth. I think you could, some people say Florida had to, if they end up winning the Cup, they had to lose in the final to Vegas in order to take this next step. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I know historically teams, they don't often make that, jump and win a cup in their first final appearance. I covered Pittsburgh in 08 and 09, and there's no question what they learned in 08, bore fruit in 09. But I don't know that this Oiler team, because of McDavid and Draisaitl, and I think Zach Hyman's leadership can't be understated here. Assuming Stuart Skinner is what we saw at the end of that Dallas series, I just think that they'll find a way to pull it out in what should be a long and wildly entertaining series.
Scott Burnside joins us here on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. And you know what, Scott, for people like, I do wonder as a guy, because, you've been based in lots of different places. How many guys do you think realistically, can get a good sense of a Western team when you live in the East and you don't watch a lot of their games? Because especially unless you're staying up till 2 a.m. in the playoffs, those games aren't starting until 11 p.m. Eastern time sometimes. So I get it. But did you find, is it difficult for some to get a real sense, or with the Dallas series in Edmonton, that shouldn't be a factor because all their games started at 8 Eastern?
Yeah, it's a great question. And there is a certain, and back in the day when I was, covering 4 rounds of the playoffs, you do get sucked in a little bit by, wherever you are. And for a long time, Pierre LeBrun and I, Pierre was sort of a Western Conference guy. I did a lot of the East. I remember covering, Ottawa going to the final in 07. And I was like, Anaheim has no chance against Ottawa, right? I just, Stetson, Alfredson, and Danny Heatley. And I was like, no way does Anaheim win this series. And of course, it was a 5-game crushing by the Ducks, right? You're like, oh my God, I did not see that coming at all. And so I think there is some of that when you do spend a lot of time watching one conference or the other. I really have, I've admitted I misjudged Florida. I thought Tampa would I thought Tampa would win that series. I thought Carolina was probably the best team in the East to give Florida a shot. And of course they lost to the Rangers in 6. So, I think I do understand how good Florida is, but having covered the Oilers and the Kings in the first round, and I think I do have an appreciation for that Oiler team and the growth that they've undergone in the last 3 or 4 years. So yeah, no, but you're absolutely right. It is hard in the East, because the game, it is late. Right? Yeah. It's hard to stay up some nights. So, but I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure once the puck drops tomorrow night, people will be going, oh yeah, no, this is going to be a great fun. I hope so anyway.
Yeah, well, on paper and when you watch the two teams play, Like Florida is going to bring energy in how they play, which I think is great. Edmonton has proven, and I've debated this for a long time. Edmonton, when the games become more intense, I find they're actually better. I give them a lot of credit because the Dallas series was not an emotionally high charge series. It was very patient, and that used to be the Oilers' nemesis, right? Like they would eventually be like, "Oh God, we can't sit back. We got to go." And that would cost them to make big errors, and they didn't do it. And so, I think they learned a lot about themselves in that series. But now you get to Florida, where I'd be surprised if Florida doesn't come in and play the way they played all year, which is physical and aggressive. And Edmonton's like, all right, like McDavid and Draisaitl, when your two best players can't be intimidated, I think it spreads down throughout your lineup.
Yeah, no, and I think that, listen, you're going to have to, Florida is a team of 1,000 face watches, right? Like they love the junk after the whistle, right? Like, and I give them all kinds of credit because they have found the line, and it's a testament, I think, to Paul Maurice, and I think probably to the maturity of Matthew Tkachuk, and they seem to have found that line, and they've stayed on the right side of it, and they will be so critical. I get that it's so obvious that if you take penalties against the Oilers, it is going to cost you, or it should cost you. And I think what people maybe sometimes forget, though, is how good that Oiler penalty kill has been, and how important it's been in managing games, right? Where your penalty kill is so good, you don't have to get into run and gun. You don't, for the most part, chase games, or you haven't. You can control a lot when you are at the top of the special teams mountain on both sides of it. And I'm curious to see about the pushback from the Oilers, where they find that line. With that, I assume Corey Perry is going to be in every game, assuming good health. Okay, his agitation level is important as long as he's not agitating himself into the box. And I think that will be an interesting part of it. I know Evander Kane's been banged up, and he's not what we saw a couple of years ago in the playoffs, but he will be an important part of this as well. And the same thing holds, I think. Yes, you want to do some face washing, okay, but you can't be the one guy from a scrum that goes to the box. And can you engage and still be on the right side of that? And like that. And I think you're absolutely right. That Dallas series was a little bit, it was a bit flat, right, emotionally, which probably, again, probably the Stars wanted it that way. But the Oilers responded very well. So you can't be sucked into things by Florida, which is a difficult thing because there's guys that suck you in, right? I mean, Sam Bennett's a guy who, you want to punch him in the face, and you want to punch Matthew Tkachuk in the face. And that's just how they are.
Yeah.
And you have to resist that if you are going to have success. And that will be, a lot of emotion. They're going to go to, into the red line pretty quick in terms of the emotion, I would think. So it's going to be fun.
It's going to be a great series, Scott. Again, congratulations on a well-earned award. We look forward to your speech, and enjoy the Cup final.
Call anytime.
You betcha. That is Scott Burnside. He is the 2024 Elmer Ferguson Award winner for excellence in journalism. Will go into the NHL Hall of Fame in the media wing. So congratulations, Scotty. Really good guy, and made a really smooth transition from news into sports. We'll come back. We have Cam Tate, Lori-Ann Muenzer, and more on a busy Friday edition of the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Let's go, Oilers!
We have to keep going, and we got 4 more wins to go here. So we'll enjoy this one tonight for sure, but get back to work.
This is Sports 1440.
Try the new extra large New York style crispy pepperoni pizza only from Papa John's. Get you some of that crispy, curly, cuppy pepperoni on top of an extra large New York style crust pizza with creamy tomato sauce and a 3-cheese blend. This ain't around forever, so walk fast like you're in NYC and order one now. The extra large New York style crispy pepperoni pizza for just $22.99, only at Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, better get you some.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions take one for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman. Are you ready, guys?
We were born ready.
Heck yes, Nuge. Drop the beat.
We roll through a lovely
Legacy.
Thursday.
We freaking killed it, Nuge.
That's what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
Zachary Martin Hyman.
Nice guys. We're going to sell a lot of air conditioners.
Hey, doesn't Legacy offer no payments and no interest for a year on those?
Yeah. Well, thanks for the assist on the copy points there, Nuge.
It's just what I do.
Legacy
Welcome
Heating
back.
and Cooling.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
For a limited time at McDonald's, enjoy the tasty breakfast trio. Your choice of chicken or sausage McMuffin or McGriddles with a hash brown and a small premium roast coffee for $5 plus tax. Available until 11 a.m. at participating McDonald's restaurants. Price excludes delivery.
The Toronto Blue Jays are on Sports 1440. Every weekend, catch all the action with play-by-play announcer Ben Schulman. The Blue Jays, this Saturday and Sunday on Sports 1440. Edmonton's home for all things sports.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
Hey Edmonton, ready to power up your projects with unbeatable strength and efficiency? Step into Edmonton Kubota, where our massive inventory meets all your needs. From rugged tractors and loaders to nimble mowers and utility vehicles, we've got the machines that work as hard as you do. And guess what? This month, we're rolling out exclusive deals that'll make your heart race faster than our engines. Drive down to Edmonton Kubota or visit edmontonkubota.com to discover how we can boost your efficiency, productivity, and fun. Edmonton Kubota, powering your passion with every turn of the key.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing? The Mixed and Mingle League. Join Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club every Thursday as they pair up males and females for a fun and social round of golf. Only $33.30 all season long. Details at cattailcrossing.ca.
Try the new extra-large New York-style crispy pepperoni pizza only from Papa John's. Get you some of that crispy, curly, cuppy pepperoni on top of an extra-large New York-style crust pizza with creamy tomato sauce and a 3-cheese blend. This ain't around forever, so walk fast like you're in NYC and order one now. The extra-large New York-style crispy pepperoni pizza for just $22.99, only at Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, better get you some.
We're making 2-minute warning history by ciphering. The Oilers Panthers Stanley Cup final will
Awesome Friday continues on. The countdown is getting closer.
Thanks there, Jason. Ever remember Jethro Bodine?
27 and a half hours till puck drop, boys and girls. Can't wait. Should be fun. Game 1, Oilers and the Panthers. And for many of you, it'll be your first ever Stanley Cup final that you've watched as a fan. So enjoy it. Because you never know when you're going to get another one. So you might as well enjoy it. We'll get Lori-Ann Muenzer in a second, but first, it's time for the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Stay cool all summer long. Hey, maybe you don't want the house to get too hot in playoffs. So get it now at legacyheating.ca. And here's Cam Tate with another edition of the 2-minute warning.
Thanks there, Jason. Ever remember Jethro Bodine on my favorite television series, The Beverly Hillbillies? He was a beauty. Know what I'm saying? Jethro had great ways of saying things, like when he did math homework, ciphering. That's what he called math, ciphering. So when it comes to making a prediction on the Stanley Cup finals, I'll have to cipher. Oh, yes, I will, but hadn't had time to cipher. There's so much going on. What a night, last night, over there at the Edmonton Convention Center. I'm telling you what, some of the greatest coaches, managers, and players ever in Canadian Football League history are in town. Hugh Campbell, Tommy Wilkinson, Michael, not Mike, Riley, Brian Kelly, Tracy Ham, and more are here to celebrate the Edmonton Elks' big 75th anniversary. We're hearing Henry the Gizmo Guy is jumping out of the cake, Saturday afternoon, center field. Halftime when the Elks open their season against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Which reminds me, I have to buy 2 cartons of milk and shake it, really good, in front of Hugh Campbell. See, Hugh and I have a great friendship and the same haircut. Milkshakes. The guy loves milkshakes. We went for 743 milkshakes when he was in Edmonton. Last time Hugh was here, he showed up at my place with a brown paper bag, 2 small thingies of milk, shook it and said because he didn't have time to go buy a milkshake. So he brought what he called homemade milkshakes. So how the heck can I cipher the C Cup final when I have to go milkshake shopping? And then tonight, oh my goodness, have to go see my good friends, Steve Hogle and Doctor. Don't forget the Doctor. Now, Randy Gregg at the house. You know, the house? Some call it Remax Field, where the Edmonton Riverhawks begin their Western Baseball League season. Okay, guess we'll have to do some ciphering right now, on the fly. We're making 2-minute warning history by ciphering. The Oilers' Panthers Stanley Cup final will give hockey fans everything and more. But for some fans, their team is going to hoist Lord Stanley's mug. In game. 6. And those fans belong to the Edmonton Oilers. There, I'm done ciphering. 2-minute warning. Jason Gregor Show. Monday, Friday, Sports, 1440.
Tater gets a new voice for his stuff all the time. Cam, of course, has cerebral palsy. And he always has a different voice. We're going to have to talk. We might have to get one. You know what? I kind of like it, though. It's always a surprise. Their enunciation of certain words, questionable. But hey, Saturday's going to be a great day. So baseball fans, hockey fans, football fans, pick your poison. One thing, if you're a basketball fan, you can go on Sunday because there's no other sports going on. And the Stingers are back in action, and they're red hot 4-1. Now, let's welcome in Olympic gold medalist. She knows a thing or two about handling pressure at key moments. Because you think about like a Stanley Cup final now, for some players, it's once in your career. It might be. And for Olympians, it's the same. The difference for Stanley Cup players is that every year you have a chance to win a cup. You only have one every 4 years chance to win an Olympic gold medal. I've always thought maybe it's a little bit more stressful at times. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. Lori-Ann, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hey, doing awesome. Happy Friday.
I see you've got a signed Larac jersey that's personalized. Any history behind that jersey?
Yeah, we did a radio show a little while ago. Actually, I think it was about I don't know if it was 05 or 06.
Okay, that wasn't when he was doing his relationship show, was it?
No, it wasn't. We ended up talking a lot about cycling, about sports, and just training. And that's when I think he was doing the triathlon thing and trying to do the swimming thing. And I think it was waiting in Horlack Park.
Oh my God. Right? I do remember him talking about swimming. And I remember him saying the joke. He goes, yeah, you know what? Like, I see why people joke about black guys don't swim. Because trust me, I'm no good at it. His words, not mine.
But he's a powerhouse on the bicycle. And then
he could probably put out a little bit of power, right?
Yeah, well, the bike was flexing, actually.
Really?
Oh, God, yes. Yeah.
Well, now, is it flexing because of his power or the fact that he was 240 or 250?
Both.
Yeah.
It's both, right? You've got the power, and it's like you need a bike that's going to hold up to the Enforcer.
Yeah.
And it was just, I mean, he's a hoot, and it's never quiet. It is never quiet. So
it's if it's good. George is kind of like Struds. If he's not chirping you, then he's not comfortable. And George, if he's not talking, he's not comfortable.
Yep.
So that's good. Being comfortable at key moments. So you're an Olympic gold medalist, but racing for the Olympic gold compared to, the semifinal, even though it's very close in proximity, and, the Oilers just got past the semifinal, if we want to call it that, the conference final, like it is different. And now it's like, oh my God, I've trained for I've got a legitimate shot. Right. And so even though, you tell yourself it's the same, but it's not the same. So how do you deal with it? Because you can't really lie to yourself because it isn't the same. So how do you deal with it?
It isn't. It's both. Because to get where they are right now, going into the finals, you got to treat the semifinals like the finals.
Right.
And I don't care who you talk to, is what's going through your head is it's do or die. You got to put everything on the line. And those who put it together best, it comes down to that mental edge. It comes down to the mental advantage. It comes to what you bring. And if you're not bringing it, you're done. And I think there's a number of essentials. The first one is belief. Like we're all believing that it's possible.
Right.
But the team has to believe collectively that they can do it. And then each player has to believe that they can do it. And it's interesting because when you've got a team, you've got so much more power, so much more energy that if you're sucking, you can actually have the energy and your performance brought up because of the others.
Right.
And you can actually expend too much energy, and also having the team there to be able to receive it, which sounds kind of crazy and funny, like how can you receive it, is enough that you're not going overboard and then you have nothing left in the tank. So it's a really, really fine balance. It's a fine dance of how much to expend, how much to hold back. But when you have a team, Jason, I think there is so much power. Like at the Olympics, it was just me. Like they had the national track coach, but he wasn't my coach. He did all of the road, track, mountain biking, everything. And it's so much more powerful when you have a team in every way, giving, receiving. And it's just, there's an energy, there's a frequency. And that frequency, you can see it and you can feel it.
What about the fact, so when you do your race, and I can't remember, like your official time was under 2 minutes. Was it not? Yeah.
It was 3 laps.
Yeah.
That's it.
So, you got to go and you're boom there. You're in a hockey game and it's 60 minutes and you can have 10 great shifts. You're doing everything. And then one shift, you have a bad shift and that can cost your team the game, right? Like, so it's somewhat different in that sense that you have to, there's more pressure because you got to make sure your best is for your 1 3-lap race. Right. And in sports, it's like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I could have a bad shift. My goalie helps me out. My defenseman helps me out. But then I get to come back around. So it is a different sense of, some would argue maybe it's more pressure when it's like you got one shot, right? Like you're running the 100-meter dash, right? What did Usain Bolt said? I trained 4 years for 10 seconds, right? Like, and you think about it, you're like, oh my God, it's true. Right?
I trained 17 years for 3 laps.
Yeah.
13 times. It's like, But it's true. And it's like, but it's what you do when it comes your time, whether you're in the starting blocks and it's a 1-shot deal, right? Or you got multiple heats, or you got 3 20-minute periods. It's either we get it done, boys, or we're going into overtime and then you go into shootout. It's like, oh, that's worst case scenario. Get the job done. And it's just focus on the major stuff. It's a piano teacher friend of mine. She used to say major on the major, minor on the minor. And I thought that was just about piano. She says, no, Lori-Ann. It's about focusing on the major stuff, really be focused on that. And if it's minor stuff, do you really need to make a big deal out of it? And it was like, well, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because we can literally blow it out of proportion.
Yes.
You can blow
We all
anything.
do that. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
That's probably a very good thing. A lot of people out there are not in their heads listening because whether it's them or, if you're in a relationship sometimes, right? Like it's like, it's the old adage, pick your battles. And does it really, is this one where I have to, excuse me, and then your spouse or partner is annoyed at you and you're just like, oh my God, right? Or, with your kids, it's like, I got to pick out the 1 or 2 points that I really want to accentuate rather than worry about the little ones. Like, oh, you didn't put the cap on the toothpaste. I'm going to freak out. Like, probably not.
But it's like I was reading, there was an article they were talking about Coach Chris Knobloch and that he's not a yeller.
Yeah.
He's an educator.
Yeah.
He doesn't get blown out of proportion. And I think we all can think of those coaches that sometimes they get escorted out. Sometimes they have to put a lid on it. Sometimes they're told directly. And it's just pick your battles, right? Is focus on what can you do. And the other thing I was thinking about is we were talking just a little bit earlier is all of the work is done. Like you can't get faster. You can't get quicker. There's nothing more that you can take on because all of the work is done. And it's all upstairs. It's all upstairs that matters right now and what you do with it.
Yeah. And in a 7-game series, the only thing left now is probably the in-between game adjustments or even in-game adjustments sometimes, right? And these players have played, so it's not like the coach is going to change your whole system, but all of a sudden it'd be like, okay, their power play has this tendency. Their penalty kill has this tendency, right? Face-off, people are, and certain face-offs just matter more. That's a fact. I think anybody out there watching would agree. You know what? Do you take the neutral zone face-off in the second period? Not so much as important as the defensive zone face-off in the minutes ago. Right. They're just different. And so you have to, not that you that you just lose them. But I remember talking to some face-off guys, and they say, you know what, in the mental warfare game of face-off, sometimes they would lose one on purpose in the neutral zone, trying to do something that they know they'd never do again, to have the other guy think, oh, geez, now I've got to be prepared for that. Or, oh, yeah, I got him. Right. And so it's a little bit of a, you pick and choose, because that's a minor face-off, to go to your analogy. And then there's the major face-off.
Absolutely. And then there's the messing with you, Jason. Moments, right? And it literally is that is what can you do to upset or knock your opponent off of their game? If they're expecting you to do one thing, you do something completely different, or you double it up, and you just like, wow, you whammy. I was just like, you hit them, right?
Was there stuff like that in cycling?
Oh, God, yes.
What was the mental warfare in cycling?
4 chairs were always set up. And there was always, like, on deck, you have baseball players. They're in that waiting on deck. Well, we had chairs set up, and typically the legs would be zap strapped or tied together, because the coaches would come, because they'd be at the track standing all day and they'd be really tired. So they try and steal a chair. Anyways, you get queued up, and to keep it going time-wise is you always have a pair of riders, or sometimes 4 of us, 2 sets, waiting to go up next. And in the finals, Tamila Abasova, the Russian who I was going up against, I waited until she sat down first. And I let her pick one of the 4 chairs. And typically what you do, you sit the farthest away from each other.
Right beside her.
Oh, you're spoiling my story. Of course I sat down right beside her, but I also kind of went off my chair and just sort of nudged her a little bit.
Oh, so were you like the Kachuk of racing?
No, I was at George's Laroque, man. I'm like big, and you're just using your size, because I was one of the biggest racers.
Oh, okay.
So,
really?
Yeah. They're a little smaller. Some were a little more muscular, but I was probably one of the tallest ones.
Like, how tall are you?
5'10".
What? Are you 5'10", really?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my God.
I used to weigh in at 180 pounds.
When you were racing?
Yes.
Wow, you must have had massive legs, because that's where
26 inches.
Yeah, that's where you carry.
They're now 22.
Okay.
I mean, we used to put, 8-9 plates aside on the leg press machine, 720. I used to full squat, not once, but twice, 275.
Really?
And we would do 4 sets. Not one, 4.
Yeah.
4 in a row. So anyways, Tamila Abasova and I were sitting, and I'm like taking up the space. I'm getting really big. And I
like
happened,
5'10", 180, that's a big woman, right? Like, when you're in shape is what I mean, right? Like, you're sitting there, and your shoulders, you're kind of leaning in. Were you sitting like a guy and spreading your legs out?
I got really big, and I took up the space, because those chairs are like the restaurant ones, where they're not so big, but they're not so small. I looked down, and the legs were not strapped together, and I went, boom, there's my moment. So what I did was I took my chair and I nudged it forward about an inch, so that even before we got on the bikes, I was ahead of her.
Oh, just trying to visualize it. Yeah, that makes sense. Any little game.
Oh,
right.
You could either choose to sit or not to sit. And
as much as it was maybe influencing her, did you be like, look, I'm ahead? And so
I was already done. I had already won the race.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
In your head, you had won the race.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt.
It's the old adage. If you don't believe, then you got no chance.
Oh, you're done. Yeah. Because in the semifinals, when I was racing Anna Mears, who I thought I would meet in the finals from Australia, she's like 20. Like, she's old enough to be my kid. I'm thinking, I was flat. I had nothing, Jason. And it's the best 2 out of 3. And I thought, thank goodness, because I lost that first one. Like, there was nothing. She just led. I followed. And I thought, I have 5 minutes to turn it around. What am I going to do? And we're sitting in the chairs, but we're not, like, there's one chair between us. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do? And so I pinched the inner thigh, like, as hard as I could go. And it's like, holy mother of God, does that ever hurt?
Oh, yeah.
I tell you, I was on fire.
Yeah.
It was like, I was awake.
So it's funny, because I remember people saying, if you're somewhere and you're getting nervous, or if you're out and you feel like you're going to cry and you don't want to cry, you pinch in there, and the pain sensation, it is true. I will tell you, and I've used that a few times. I'm like, oh my God, but trust me, it's virtually impossible to cry when you pinch your inner thigh.
Oh yeah. Like, it's crazy. And so I did that the second ride, I won it. Did it the third ride, I won it. Absolutely. It totally brings your focus back. And that's what
it's kind of like smelling salts.
Smelling salts. Yeah. You don't really want those, but it's just, I mean, what do you need to do to bring back your focus?
Yeah.
But, be in that moment that you're just like raring to go. And it's like, it's not time yet, but you're walking that fine line. And it's such a fine line that you have to practice it. So I can tell you that all the athletes, the Oilers, every athlete has something that they do that tips them over the edge and goes, I'm ready now.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. That's all.
Yeah, you have to be able to know when to turn it on.
Yes.
No.
And you also have to know when to turn it off. So the other thing is it can become too much force that you get stiff and you actually get thrown off your game, that you have to move into the other side of the energy, which is flow, that you literally bounce around and you're just like in the moment, you're seeing the shots, you know exactly where things are going. So it's, where are you?
Lori-Ann, as always, great stuff. Enjoy the weekend.
Thank
we
you.
will chat with you next Friday. And by then, there'll be 3 games in the series. So we'll see where it's at.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Have
There
a
you
good
go.
weekend.
That's Lori-Ann Muenzer, Olympic gold medalist. Let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. Visit a Booster Juice today and try their brand new Booster Mixers. They are cold, tasty sippers in 5 vibrant varieties. Download the Booster Juice Boosters Reward app today and order one only at Booster Juice.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Week 1 of the CFL rolls on tonight with the Hamilton Tiger Cats in Calgary taking on the Stampeders. That starts at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Tomorrow, the Edmonton Elks will kick off their 2024 season, hosting the Saskatchewan Roughriders down at Commonwealth. Kickoff set for 2 o'clock. The Edmonton Riverhawks at home tonight. Their home opener taking on Nanaimo. That one's set for 7:05 in the majors. The Blue Jays taking on the Oakland Athletics just after 7:40. The two teams will meet tomorrow and Sunday at 2:05. You can hear both those games right here on Sports 1440, radio feed only. Elsewhere on the majors, the Brewers take on the Tigers. Pirates host the Twins. Braves in Washington. You got the Yankees up against the Dodgers. Cubbies in Cincinnati. Rangers host the Giants. Red Sox and White Sox meeting again. The Rockies in St. Louis. Padres host the Diamondbacks, and the Astros take on the Angels. WNBA Commissioner Cup continues. Fever Mystics. Aces storm the Wings. Head to LA to take on the Sparks. And the Mercury host the Lynx. And at the Memorial right now, we've got a tie atop the leaderboard. Adam Hadwin and Scotty Scheffler both sitting 6 under par. As for the other Canadians in the field, Corey Connors is even. Adam Svensson 1 over par, as is Taylor Pendrith. They'll both make the cut. Looks like just one Canadian will miss. Mackenzie Hughes currently 5 over par. He's on hole 16. So, hey, maybe he goes on a run. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by our co-host and former NHLer, Sean Brown. Also, CFL Hall of Famer Damon Allen and Jason Wiewat of Cattail Crossing Golf. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League is entering its 3rd season of gameplay. The JPHL now offers academic and athletic opportunities in the 14U, 15, 17, and 18U age divisions. All JPHL games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV with a showcase-style game schedule and high level of travel and accommodations for its team, staff, and players. To learn more about why the JPHL is the fastest growing elite hockey academy stream in Western Canada, visit juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
This spring, experience innovation on the road at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, lease from 0.99% or save up to $4,000 on select models for qualifying loyal Volvo Cars Edmonton customers. Plus, save $5,000 on all new and demo 2024 XT60 Recharge plug-in hybrid models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com or visit 1205 101st Street Southwest.
The playoffs are wild. We all know that. And this year, Play Alberta is making it even wilder. Make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10+ odds boost on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win a pair of Lower Bowl or even exclusive sweet tickets for an Oilers playoff game just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at playalberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
My utility bills are going through the roof. How can I take advantage of the sun and put my lazy roof to work?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Energy team reporting. When you're ready to make your home or business more efficient, Action Electrical has the power to install solar panel systems and EV chargers.
Facing an electrical menace, call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta with supercharged skills and strong family values. ActionElectrical.net.
Warmer, brighter days can make you crave something to sip.
Awesome.
Booster Juice is busting out booster mixers, the summer fixers. Cold, tasty sippers in 5 vibrant varieties. The Mango Teaser, Berry Teaser, Almighty Acai, Game Set Matcha, and Oranges and Cream. Try all 5 and brighten your day a sip at a time. And try the Cookies and Cream Booster Ball, the yummy little bundle of almond butter, maple syrup, coconut, and gluten-free cookies. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
Clear up some garage space and keep your tires in prime condition at Windermere Chrysler. We offer convenient, on-site seasonal tire storage that ensures your tires are safe, sound, and ready when you need them. With every service visit, enjoy a complimentary tire and wheel alignment analysis, plus a thorough car wash and vacuum. Trust Windermere Chrysler to maintain both your vehicle and your tires to impeccable condition. The choice is clear.
It's Windermere.
Visit windermere-dodge.ca.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantor. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantorque.com.
You can move your mic, to make it. Welcome back. It is the Jason Gregor Show at Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. This is unbelievable. Oh, my God. God, I wish we would have had the camera on just for that. Welcome back. This is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And hey, it's Friday. It's Positive Friday. And you know what that means at PlayAlberta.ca? Somebody could win Lotto Max. A huge opportunity. $40 million up for grabs at PlayAlberta.ca. And yeah, Cons, just go over there, fix his mic. You know, rookie Sean Brown.
What's going on here?
We've been doing this for 7 months. He's kind of like, how do I figure out how to move my microphone? Like, he's got it pointed sideways. You want to talk to the front of it? Move the arm over. Turn it the other way. No, turn it towards you. No, other way.
Okay.
There we go.
I just had it that way.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think so. You had it sideways. It was pointing out to the mall. Right? We're going to be getting the echo. Brown would be talking like this. Hello.
We're on air right now?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're just letting everybody know. Sean Brown, 7 months in studio. And every time, wherever Lori-Ann leaves the microphone, Brownie thinks like, because she likes to have it down
next
low.
to the desk.
Yeah, so Brownie comes in. Hello. I'm like, you can move it. It's not stationary.
Hey, we just talked about it. I'm not as comfortable as you are, obviously.
Oh, yeah. No, it's good though. I love it. How you doing?
Very good. Good. You look good. You look bright. And
yeah, well, I was out golfing today in the Smash Out MS, our buddy, Scotty Lopatinsky, who is, he's had this tournament for, over a decade. His mom has MS. And so he just started it as a small tournament with family and friends, and it's grown. It's sold out in like 4 days, and there's lots of people who support it. I actually got to golf with Rob today, who has MS, right? And I know that, MS inflicts more women than men, but unfortunately the men who get it, they get it really bad. And, so I had a really good chat with Rob and his wife, Kelly, and then, Trev and Corin, and we had a really good group. And, but it's you know, it is anybody out there who knows someone who's dealing with MS. The hardest part about MS is like you never get like it never goes away, right? Like cancer sucks. Don't get me wrong, but people can beat it, and you can be cancer free. Once you have MS, you're never MS free, right? Sometimes you can control it, and maybe it go, you know, it's tempered, but as you know, as his wife Kelly was telling me, she said, you know what, it's like you're mourning the loss of your physical movement constantly. Right. And the way she put that to me, it really hit home. So kudos to Scott and everybody in that tournament. And I know the MS Bike Tour is coming up and later on this month. And that's a fantastic event. And if you've never ridden it, like I highly recommend it. Just A, it's hard. And B, though, you go to that dinner after the MS Bike Tour and the speeches and the people you see with MS, it's super inspiring. I still remember the first time I went because my Aunt Teresa had MS. And so that's when they had approached me many years ago to do it. Obviously I had a connection to it and I understood it, but I was very naive. I almost I was kind of sheepish and embarrassed when I went to the dinner and I was sitting at the dinner and it's in Camrose. It's and, you know, the big agriplex, right? So there's probably 2,000 people in this mass, you know, in the agriplex having dinner. And they're doing the speeches. And then the guest speaker announces everybody in the room with MS to come up on stage. And my interaction at that point in my life with people with MS it was my aunt who was older. Now it's funny because I was a kid when I first saw her have MS when I still remembered visually when she came to the farm and she was very stiff and, you know, she wasn't walking normal and I'd never seen her like that before. And it just kind of happened like suddenly. And so I had to ask my mom, I'm a teenager, like what's going on here? And she explains it to me. So I just assumed that MS was for quote, older people who she was 40, which, you know, now that I'm over 40, I'm like, that's not old. But when you're a teenager, 40 is like dirt. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe how old you are at 40. But the amount of young women and men that came to the stage that were under the age of 40 blew my mind. Like I was thinking it was going to be all older people with MS and I was totally wrong.
Yeah.
And so that really kind of opened my eyes. I'm like, I got to learn more about this. And so I have. And it's one that's near and dear to my heart because of so many people that like Alberta has like the second highest percentage of MS cases in the world, right? It's just a weird thing. So there's a little bit of genetics in there sometimes, but you don't really know when it comes, and that's what's frustrating about it. So shout out to everybody. You got to golf, and you know what? The outside of the wind, like my God, I thought I was in a wind tunnel today. It was awful.
How many best ball? I'm assuming.
Yeah, scramble.
Did they use any of your balls?
You know what? Yeah, quite a few actually.
Really?
Yeah, not bad.
You got game?
I'm a pretty good scramble player. Like today, honestly, I hadn't swung a club. Like I don't really, you know, my golfing days really start in July. Like I'm a July, August golfer.
Yeah.
That's kind of what. Now my wife and son are getting into golf, so it'll be a little bit different. I just could never commit to like 6 hours on the weekend when, you know, my son was little. I wanted to hang out with him because I'm working all the time. So, but so that's usually this tournament's like my first time. So I got there, you know, swung. I think I always have a rule. I'll start at my low irons, but once I get to my driver, if I hit it good once, that means I'm done. Then I'm just done because I'm like, you know, first of all, I don't hit the driver that much, but
Why?
You know,
Why?
well, because you don't hit it on par threes. Right. And certain par fours, depending like if there's like anybody who plays the ranch. Now, I'm not accurate enough to hit my driver where on the gully hole number 5, because, you know, if you'd hit it decent, then it's going to go, and I don't want to go down that gully. It's like the worst. Right. And I'm not accurate enough to know I'm going to hit it on the left. So I'm like, okay, I can hit my rescue club 220, 230, because then I know I won't hit the gully. So yeah, you know, I think maybe you would use at the ranch for me, I might use my driver 10, 11 times maybe.
Yeah, that's enough. Yeah.
Right? So,
I don't really like to think my way around the court. I like to just grab a club, grip it.
And you're just
rip
rip it into the bush, right?
There's no better feeling though when you get a hole of one.
Oh
it's
no, that is well today when the wind was at your back today, there's a few times it's like, geez.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I've been working out here. And then you're like, all of a sudden the wind's almost blowing you over. Oh yeah, no, it must be that wind that's carrying an extra 20 yards. So that was, but you know what? It was, we had a really good time. So it was good. We got lots to talk about. We're going to talk about one of your little thing you're doing for accuracy shooting. We'll get to that in hour number 2 today. But the Stanley Cup is here tomorrow. It begins.
Wow.
Panthers, Oilers are. Pierre LeBrun had one. I think it was 29-4. people picking Florida to win. Like, I think it's a close series. I think there's a lot of people really underestimating Edmonton, and I don't really understand why, because I read comments are like, well, Florida's way better 5-on-5. And I'm like, what? You can take 30 seconds to look up these numbers to say that that's actually not true. So why do you think the Oilers are so underrated? Is it because the Oilers have always been the team up until 2024 that wasn't consistent defensively, and people can't, every time they see the blue and orange, that's what they see?
You know, I was going to ask you the same question because I've been thinking about it as well and talking about it with a few of my friends. And I think sometimes you just get, you know, as a player, it happens where you get labeled as a certain type of player.
Okay, that's fair.
And it really makes it tough because anyone that's played hockey's been in that situation. And once you get labeled as that player, it's very, very hard, you know, to build around that and show, you know, other sides to your game to get more opportunity. And, you know, do the Oilers maybe fall in the same category as far as, like, you know, Skinner? You know, there was question marks about Skinner. Is he a goalie that can, you know, win the big game, win you a game? You know, I think he's dealt with a lot of adversity and he's proven himself in certain situations throughout the season, throughout the playoff break. You know, Bouchard, can he defend? Right? Can he defend at the next level to win a championship? I mean, I think that he's proven that. Draisaitl, you know, maybe his body language. Does he have the leadership skills? Does he, you know, is he going to care and conduct himself in the right way? I think that was probably one of the things that I noticed in his game that I haven't seen throughout this run. So a lot of the question marks, I think, you know, in the Oilers, you know, individually or as a team, I think they've done a really good job of answering them internally.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe us as fans and media, it gets burnt in our head that, you know, maybe this is the way they are. And it's hard to overlook at that. And I think they've grown in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I sat down with a Scott, I want to say it was 10 or 12 years ago. And it was like one of the best things I ever did in my career, because as we're watching things, you're going over, he says, the number one thing as a scout you can't do is if you get focused on what a player doesn't do, you missed all the things that you're missing, all the things they do well. Because very few players do everything well, is what he said, right? So you can look and say, okay, you know what, here he doesn't do this well, but he does this well and this well and this well. And most players do more things well than they do poorly, if you're going to go to any high level, right?
Yeah.
Some players can think the game really well, they just can't skate, and at the end, if you can't skate, you just can't play, right? Like that's going to happen sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So, but and it's true. And he goes, Scout, you always have to, and it's the hardest thing, but you can't pigeonhole someone into thinking, well, that's what they were. That's what they'll always be. And I think it's hard for coaches. You coached, I'm sure you're at times you're just like, oh, Bob is my third pair defenseman. Well, he's my third. And geez, Bob's playing really well, but in my head, he's only a third pair defenseman, right? And it's the hardest thing to get over.
We've all done it, you know, as a coach, and you have your favorites, and, you know, coaches are notoriously, you know, bad for veteran guys and giving them more rope than a younger, you know, it's hard for a coach to play a younger guy. Right. Because they are new. They do make mistakes. And we've all been in that situation. I think it's very tough. But yeah, I mean, you also watch a team long enough too. You watch the Oilers long enough, you start to pick them apart.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, I look on Facebook and I got friends back home that are Toronto Maple Leaf fans, and they're going on about the Leafs decor and what we have and how bad things are in Toronto. Right. And some of the people that they're praising, you know, we've been challenging, you know what I mean? So I think we all just kind of sometimes take for granted sometimes what we have, and we overlook it and overanalyze it. And, you know, to your point about the scout that you were talking to, I played with Dan Cleary, and Dan Cleary came, you know, to the Ontario Hockey League. I played with him in Belleville, and I think he was like an underage. And, you know, he was there, 2 years before his draft year. And he had an outstanding rookie season. But it was 2 more years, I think, before he could be drafted. And now, you know, you start watching him, and as a scout, you start picking apart his game more and more, right? And so
yeah, you see that sometimes leading up to the draft. It's, the guy's being a top ranked player out now. It's all, well, what does he do wrong? It's like, well, okay, maybe not nearly as much as they do well. 833-401-1440 in our email inbox. Hey, Gregor, what does the Oilers dressing room slogan "windows down and elbows out" mean, and why won't Draisaitl answer questions about it? From Lance. Well, Lance, very easy. Some things are personal, but think about what windows down and elbows out means. You're driving in your car, the window's down, your elbows on the road, you got a little swagger, you got a belief in yourself, and you're like, I'm ready to roll. That's what it means. Right now, they might have a different little twist on it, but that's what windows down, elbows out means, right? It's like you're there, you're like, you know what, man? I'm not intimidated by anyone. I'm not that I'm too cool for school, but we feel that, like Draisaitl said it in a better way when he said, hey, we feel if we play our best is better than anyone else. And that's essentially windows down, elbows out. We're good.
I think they just, you know what? It'll be interesting when it's all said and done, and hopefully they win the Stanley Cup. But the experiences that they're going to talk about, and I think more than anything, that slogan to me would be like, hey, let's try and enjoy this. Let's try and enjoy this ride, because you talk to all the different veterans and anyone that's played the game. It's not a guarantee, right? And I think that, any player that's played the game, I think at different times, if you were to talk to them, I think they would be like, man, I wish I just maybe enjoyed the ride a little bit more. Cause it's very hard. There's so much pressure, and there's so much anticipation. There's such a buildup that as an athlete, we're all enjoying this experience, and it's harder to do when you're in it and you have all that pressure on you.
Yeah, for sure. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sean Brown with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Quick break. When we return, we're going to keep talking hockey. We'll also have a Hall of Famer, Damon Allen, joining us next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, let's make sure. Maybe you've got the next
an awesome day getting set for the Stanley Cup finals. But man, also so much going on right here in our community. Of course, you got the Riverhawks going on tonight, their home opener. Then they have tomorrow 1:00 game. You have the Stingers, who are 4-1, back in action on Sunday, and the Green and Gold huge 75th year celebration. It officially kicked off last night with a massive dinner and event with some of the greatest players to ever lace them up for the Green and Gold. Evening ends with Dwayne Mandryk getting announced that he's going in the builders category in the Elks Wall of Honor. Very well deserved for Dwayne. Excellent speech for him. And you had Warren Moon and Hugh Campbell and Damon Allen, Henry Gizmo Williams and Ricky Ray and Michael Riley were all up on stage, and many, many other great players from many different generations. And they're all in town today. Tomorrow, if you're going to the game, I highly recommend getting there early from 11:30 until 1:30 at the field house. All the alumni are there, and you can go in, say hello, get pictures, get autographs. Like I'm telling you, you might never have an opportunity like this again in your life if you're a fan of the Green and Gold, to go see that many great players all in one place and an opportunity to meet and greet with them. So that's going to be great. Tomorrow, as that allows us to get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Female Super League, designed to elevate female youth hockey players. FSL will provide a platform for 12U and 14U players. Learn more at femalesuperleague.com. And our guest was one of those greats on stage last night. Damon Allen, of course, one of the architects of the 1987 and 1993 Grey Cup champions for the Edmonton Eskimos, joins us now. Damon, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's always great to be on the show and be back in Edmonton as well to represent the Double E, and just excited to be able to see some of your former teammates.
Oh, yeah.
And guys you watch, during your time in your career, and the same time compete against some of these guys as well. So it's been really, really interesting to see the legends, like Wilkie and Warren Moon. These guys were before me, but, I had great relationship with these guys previous before. And so it's really nice to see them again as well.
Well, when you were on stage with Giz and J-Mo, and you were telling the story of how, you're Cal Fullerton, and, because there's the NFL strike or lockout, whatever it was, they start showing CFL games, and you're like, hey, there's Warren Moon. I knew him. And suddenly you see a black, I think some people, like, this isn't long ago, but we're talking in the 80s, a black quarterback wasn't getting a lot of chances in the NFL. That was just a fact. And so you see Warren Moon in the CFL dominating, and that was a big reason why you ended up wanting to go there, because he was a guy that you looked up to.
Well, and also, too, is then you started to realize there's another league for my skill set and my opportunities to play quarterback. And, I think during my era, if you wasn't 6'4", 225 pounds and a pocket passer, then you really were getting your position change or switch. And so I think many of the quarterbacks that I've watched in college and all those, I guess a lot of two-way players back then were getting their positions changed. And so I remember my first year in the league in 1985. I was here when the last year of Conrich Holloway, J.C. Watts, Turner Gill was here at the time, Bernard Curls, a lot of these quarterbacks that I've seen in college play, they were all in the CFL. And so over time, that position and two-way quarterbacks, are now getting an opportunity to play in the National Football League. But, during that time, it was necessary for me to come to the CFL because Warren Moon took the same path. And I've always enjoyed watching Warren Moon, especially when I've seen him play in the Rose Bowl against with Washington.
Damon, you mentioned that when you came to the CFL, you were a $155.
Yeah, about
155 pounds as a quarterback in like a ferocious game. How did you survive those early years? And what did you end up like? What was the height of your weight as a quarterback in the CFL?
I think the height of my weight, I probably got close to about 185 pounds.
Okay.
But as the season progressed and went on,
oh God,
and this is probably my weight on average over the duration of my whole career is about 180 pounds. So I would fight extreme hard every year to try to hold on to 180. But I knew 180 pounds, I felt at my best. I felt good. I felt quick. I felt elusive on all those different things. So my body kind of knew the natural weight for me to be able to be, all I can be on a football field and not feel sluggish. And there are times over my career, I mean, you're going to get bigger and you're going to age, and you're going to mature. There was a few times I came to camp about 190, but I felt like, that 10 pounds was like overwhelming for me, my body structure and everything. So I knew about 180 pounds is my natural weight where I felt like dominant and I can do anything on the football field.
Damon, I grew up in Ontario, so just out of curiosity, I did watch you when you were playing with the Argonauts, but when I started to become a CFL fan was kind of around, I don't know if you remember the name, Rocket Ismail.
Yes.
Yeah, that's when
It might have been 90, 91 around there.
Yeah, that's kind of when the CFL, or at least the Argonauts, were getting really big. What was it like playing in Toronto?
Toronto's a big city. It believes they're a U.S. city, so you just can't get anybody as your head coach, no matter what sport it is, whether it's baseball, hockey, or football. They're more name recognition, recognizing. So, yeah, you just can't get a no-name coach in the GM. And if you follow hockey or their baseball team, they never get a nobody, not a name that's not recognized, or GM's not recognized in the organization. So I find Toronto is that same way. Even when I was there, we had Pinball Clemens, but so everyone knew as a head coach who Pinball Clemens was, or what he was a president for the club. And so Toronto is that kind of city, right, where you got to have a name recognition, a recognized name in leadership in that organization. So, but it's a great city. I was fortunate enough to come there late in my career, but they still believe that I had enough in me to win a Grey Cup. And, those are the times, you're really glad that you were still able to, dominate, even at their age at 39. I think I came in when I was around 39.
Damon Allen joins us. Damon, outside of being a great football player, obviously you love baseball, right? And, obviously, you went to the Pirates and you had the tryout. It was baseball more of a love for you than football, or did you actually love football more?
No, I love them the same, because when I was about 7 years old, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to play baseball and football and play both of them and see if I can go professional in both of them.
Okay.
And so, like I said, and then that allowed me to pick which one I wanted to do, but I wanted to give myself options. So that's what I pursued ever since I was 7. So that's why I played baseball and football pretty much throughout my whole career until I got to college. Played baseball with Fullerton, won a national championship.
Yeah.
Played football, and then I basically chose football based on participating. When I was in baseball, I was a spot starter and a middle reliever, or a middle reliever spot starter. In football, I was a starting quarterback, so I played every game.
Yeah.
So I chose football based on the participation of it.
Well, that makes sense.
I didn't choose wrong.
Yeah, no, you didn't.
I didn't realize I was going to play 23 seasons either. But, but at the end of the day, I can't complain.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
you're like, you had a really strong arm, right? And can you compare the throwing motion, baseball to football? How different they were, and maybe how it helped you, baseball potentially in football, or vice versa.
Well, I think if you look at some of the quarterbacks who have played baseball, like Pat Mahomes and who else? Russell Wilson. We have the ability to drop down and throw in different angles, and so that's not always easy to do if you haven't played the game of baseball. And so, even me dropping down and throwing in different angles, I had the ability to do that because I played baseball. And even when I pitch, I would change throwing angles. So I think in a sense, I always felt like I can get the ball off no matter what position I was in. And so, I think in the long run, it does help you in a sense. Baseball does help you with the different arm angles that you can throw the football.
Damon, I'm assuming you watch a lot of the NFL. And I played hockey. The game has changed since I've played. What do you see in the game that's changed since you've played?
Well, the one thing that has changed a lot is understanding the direction and how football is going, and not only trying to make the game safer, but then they're trying to make it pretty much super ultra offensive. So they're literally trying to make the game safer, especially for the quarterback position. They're doing everything possible because they want all the great quarterbacks that are playing. They want to make sure that they're healthy throughout the year too, and so that's what you're seeing as far as the protection aspect. And then they're changing how you tackle. So they want, guys to be more, it's almost coming like skelly football now. It's almost like they want to play football without really no offensive line play and no defensive line play, really. They want the quarterback clean. They want him in the pocket throwing all over the field. So that's why I find that really the changes as far as the game is they want more scoring. And so you can see all the rules that are making the game easier to throw, just like the CFL. They moved the hashes in so you don't have that long throw to the field. And they're playing more in the middle of the field than it is ever before. But to me, I think they always question the arm strength when they start playing with the hashes of the quarterbacks that are playing today.
Damon, can you tell me the mindset of a quarterback that's sitting in the pocket with a bunch of men that are trying to kill you, and you're focused on someone's route, and you got to stay focused? And you've obviously played the game for a long time. I'm assuming you've taken some bad hits, and you've gotten up over and over again. What type of mindset? Like, how do you get in that mindset?
Well, sometimes you don't understand the courage that it takes to be able to do that, especially if you understand my size, and those things. But I was a tough player.
Yeah.
Not only I had courage at my size, I ran between tackles. I ran outside of the tackles. So for me, it was more so because I understood the game, right?
Yeah.
And to me, you just have to be really efficient. There's a trust factor that you have with your front five. But if you just really do your job, you can eliminate a lot of the different things, or holding the ball, reading your keys. By the time you hit your last step, regardless if it's a 3-step drop or a 5-step drop, you got to know where you're going with the football, and you don't want to be caught holding the ball after your drop, because then now you're giving the defensive lineman, your offensive lineman have to block much longer. But if you're efficient, hit your last step, and your ball is going somewhere and it's out, there's a much more opportunity to be able to throw in your rhythm and not take less hits as well. So you definitely have to be tough.
Damon.
And you definitely have to be accurate and make good decisions even in the midst of pressure.
Damon Allen.
And then at the same time, you're going to have to be able to play when there's 15 million people watching a breakup game, and you have to be able to be cool, like Cool Hand Luke.
Damon Allen joins us. And that's fair. And I like it.
It's hard to do. You got to name. Yeah. You have to name a few quarterbacks who have actually done it.
Yeah, no, it's very true. And
that's why I'm asking you, because I wouldn't want to be in there.
It's interesting because I do want to ask you, Damon, about a guy that got honored last night in Dwayne Mandryk, who's with that organization for so long, and kind of, what did he mean and how did he help your time as a member of the Green and Gold?
Well, Dwayne's legendary, man. If you understand his plight, his importance to our organization during the time I was there, a joy to talk to. Anything you need, he knew exactly what you need and all those things as far as the locker room and how you come into the locker room. So it was really good that they honored him that way. But what a perfect time to honor him during the 75th anniversary, because, it's 35 plus years that he falls under, and being the equipment guy from Warren Moon to a lot of the great quarterbacks and Wilkie that played during his time is special. So those guys, the equipment guys, know more about the organization, who's getting cut, who's staying, and all that stuff before any of the players ever know, right? So, because he's the one that has to clean out the locker rooms and all that stuff. So he's always in on the decision making of what's going on in the organization. So they're almost like a second GM, really.
Yeah. Lastly, Damon, this is the most alumni of the Green and Gold in one place ever. How fun has it been for you just to see not only the guys you played with, but to meet some of the the older ones and even the newer generation guys? I know you spanned 23 years, so you played against lots of them, but there's still probably some you haven't met. How fun has these few days been, and what are you looking forward to tomorrow?
Well, it's been really good meeting. I've been meeting a lot of the guys who played during the times of the 5 Grey Cups. So I already knew quite a few of those guys that already mainly, it's funny, most of the guys that I knew were on the defensive side of the ball, because I spent a lot of time. Most of my friends in the game of football are on the defensive side of the ball, because I'm always constantly trying to understand defense. And so that's probably why I've become more friends with defensive guys than offensive guys. But what's unique and what will always be remembered is, all the quarterbacks. We took a picture with 7 quarterbacks today.
Yeah.
Only guy wasn't there was Wilkie wasn't there during the luncheon.
Yeah.
But so it was about 7 quarterbacks. That's Mike Riley,
Ricky Ray, Tracy
Ricky
Ham.
Ray, Warren Moon, Tracy Ham, Matt Dunnigan, myself, Moonshine. Who else was there? So no, it was about 7 quarterbacks. And then we were talking about, like, all of us talking about, well, how many Grey Cups between us all? Because we're taking a picture with the Grey Cup. We counted 21 Grey Cups.
It's not bad.
21 Grey Cups with 7 of them.
Well, yeah,
it's amazing, right? Because we counted 21 Grey Cups between us, and we didn't add Wilkie.
Yeah.
So with Wilkie being there, then that would have been 27.
Yeah. No, it was
27 Grey Cups between 8 guys that played at the cart. Pretty much started their career in Edmonton.
Yeah. And then you throw in Bruce Lemmerman and Jason Moss.
Right.
Like, it's like Edmonton's quarterback factory for so many decades. And in football, if you don't have a good quarterback, it's really hard to win. And, there's a lot of pressure on a quarterback.
Quarterback-driven league. And so regardless if you're at the little mighty might or the high school or the university or college professional level, that plays a huge part. You can tell.
Yeah. 100%. And it's so
especially, he has the ball the most. He has to make his decisions where the ball goes. So it makes sense that that's the guy. Like, when he plays well, or any quarterback that has a good season, you can look at their team's record, and it will show you what kind of year that they're having, right?
Oh, without question. So it leads me to one last one for you, Damon. The Green and Gold, the Elks most likely are going to get sold. There's going to be a private owner. We've seen other organizations do it. What's your thoughts on the Green and Gold having private ownership and what that might mean to the future?
Well, it's something new, and I think they're in the era right now where doing it the old way has removed and went to a different path, and so private ownership that may be the answer. But it also comes right back to, if it is get private ownership, it's still going to come down to what you do on the football field and regathering the fans and the trust of the fans, because we have very knowledgeable fans here in Edmonton. And they're kind of spoiled a little bit with tradition and how great they've been over the years. And they're trying to get that tradition back. And so hopefully, it can be turned around. And I think that all starts from winning.
I would agree. Damon,
this is the year that they need to win.
Yeah. It was great seeing you. Sick jacket, by the way. Sick jacket you had on last night. I was a big fan of that.
I appreciate it very much.
And we'll talk to you again soon.
I thought you were going to say the shoes.
Yeah. Oh, no. You know what? The shoes are all right. I just like that jacket, man. It's not many guys are pulling on that jacket. I like it. Like it a lot. So.
All right, brother. I appreciate it, brother.
Okay, man. Have a great day.
You too.
There you go. That's Damon Allen. That guy was a ridiculous athlete, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed watching him.
But I couldn't, like, him telling the story about being a $155 as a quarterback.
Wow.
Like, your face.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
just like,
unbelievable.
what? Now,
Yeah.
like a lot of guys come in the league and, your lady ended up being 185, but like he
Still.
said, really, it was 180. He
Yeah.
really had to work
Yeah.
to get up there, because he was saying, like,
Yeah.
he would eat a lot and would just like nothing, right?
Yeah.
As young guys. Some
Yeah.
people, you told it was hard for you to gain
Yeah,
weight, right?
It's not going to come until it's ready to come.
Yeah.
But to be able to stay in the pocket,
I know, it's
knowing
crazy.
those big men are trying to kill you, that's amazing mindset. Because
Yeah.
I could not do it. I mean, you see the hits that those guys take.
But you would take punches in the face, so maybe you could do
Yeah,
it.
but I could see them. I can't do the guy behind me. And the one question I wanted to ask him was
the sense.
Well, not so much the sense, but like, do you have any awkward conversations with your D lineman as far as being like, hey, you need to have that guy?
Oh, the old line?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
I
no, there is.
don't know a whole lot. So that was interesting for me to hear, like, the steps, like, because it's so calculated, right? It's like 5 steps here and the guy cuts, and that was interesting for me.
When we come back, hey, we'll talk big news coming up next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Yeah, like the draw.
Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sean Brown with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. And man, it's awesome. Damon Allen. We've had some great guests. Pisani earlier this week. You know what? It's awesome. Lots going on in the sporting world right now, locally, of course. Yeah. What about the NBA last night? Whew, that was a little bit of a spanking last night, I would say. So we'll see if game 2 can be a little bit more competitive, because whew, that was a clinic defensively, I thought, last night by the Celtics. No lob passes, no corner 3 attempts, only one in the whole first half. Like, that's the bread and butter of Dallas. I'll give the Celtics a lot of credit, man. They had a game plan and they knew what they were doing, for sure. Yeah, you need a game plan, I think, if you want to win. And hey, you need a. I never have a game plan at golf. That's why I'm not very good at it. Right? It's kind of like, hey, hit the ball. So we're going to talk a little golf now. Jason Wawad joins us once again from Cattail Crossing. Jay, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Jay, how are you?
Hey, I'm all right, man. We see, just had the another RBC Tour, Canadians in it again. At the top, which is nice to see. When you guy who's been in the golf community a long time, when we've seen some of the Canadians, like obviously Brooke Henderson's been great here for a while, but what Taylor winning and 4 or 5 guys on the top of the leaderboard on a consistent basis. Are you seeing the trickle down effects at the lower levels of golf because of it?
100%. And you know what? It's just a commitment from all of us to understand the importance of having kids out, having juniors out. You know what? You're starting to see it even with the culture at the golf course. I have a lot of adults come and say, it's so nice to see all the kids out here. And, for a while there, it was really hard to just get access to the course, access to the facilities for the kids. But, it's a kind of an effort from the golf community, from the golfers, from the people that own and run golf courses, to place a high priority on that. And you're seeing the evidence of that on the biggest stage in the world. And I see it as someone that coaches juniors. I'm out actually tomorrow with a bunch of them, helping them at a tournament that they're at. And it's just this continual cycle of them grinding, working really hard at their craft, getting out, playing tournaments. And the next step is that Golf Canada spot, and then moving on to maybe the PGA Tour. So it's really encouraging to see.
You guys obviously have the summer program for kids. I know they've started now, but they really ramp up with school as kids are crossing on the X every day on the calendar just to get out of school. For those who haven't maybe tried it, Operation 36 and how that's gone and maybe how it's grown with the kids.
Yeah, it's just so good. And it continues to grow. We have school groups reaching out saying, hey, can we get a part of that as well? So we have a couple sport academies that are taking advantage of Operation 36. And we run Operation 36 every Sunday. It runs 5:30 to 8 p.m. The kids come out. We've got them in a group. We've got a coach for them. I teach a lesson. We teach a lesson on a specific skill. And then what we do is we get them to go out on the golf course and actually golf 9 holes where they can put that skill to use. And we challenge them with all of the other things that come with golf, the rules, just taking care of the course. And then once again, trying to shoot that score of 36. We start them out 25 yards away from the green. And if they shoot 36, they move back to 50, so on and so forth, to the point where now a lot of the juniors that I have that are playing tournaments that started in Operation 36 are so good from 150 yards in because of that program and how they were able to learn it through that. We also have our junior summer camps that run in July and August as well. They run 9 to noon, Monday through Wednesday. So a great opportunity, regardless of whatever stage you're at, never golfed before, or you golf all the time, to get involved. So lots of stuff for everybody.
Jason, the timing of this conversation is great for me because my daughter wants to get into golf. And what would you what would you recommend?
And how old's your daughter?
She's 17.
17.
Right. And so, she's just starting. So I'm quite thrilled that she wants to play. I think it's really important for her. And I love just the environment of golf. But where would you start with golf clubs? Because it does get expensive, right? But what would you recommend?
Yeah, you know what? I think you need to, and we have that when kids come out for Operation 36. I have a great measuring tool that a couple of the golf club companies have given us to measure all of our juniors, to measure all the kids, to let the parents know whether you're going to go on Facebook Marketplace or you're going to order them through a golf course or Golf Town or wherever, what the kind of height that they need to get and where they're at. You know as well as I do, your kids grow so quick. So you're always looking at trying to make sure we fit them maybe a little bit ahead of where they're at. You don't want them too long, but you know they're going to grow out of them probably in a year or two. And that's why there's just a constant cycle. But yeah, no, for sure. It's just being one of your PGA pros that knows how to measure golf clubs for anybody. And we do it at Cattail, but you could pretty much go anywhere, I'm sure, and they could give you just some information. I think that's the biggest thing a lot of people just don't know, right?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Jason Waugh joins us from Cattail Crossing. We've had a little bit of rain, maybe more than normal. I'm guessing that maybe that's helped the course. Any other changes to Cattail for anybody out there this year?
Yeah, it has been great. You know what? I could go through all the stuff that we've done. We've actually got this amazing system. It's called the Rainmaker system. It's kind of an upgrade to our irrigation. I'm not going to go into the technical side, but it's amazing how things like that, it's just a filter to improve kind of the water that comes through and that we irrigate onto our fairways. It just increases the health and the growth of the turf. And there's less water kind of standing around because it absorbs the soil so much better. And our course has never looked better. In the 4 years that I've been the director of golf at Cattail, it has never been in better shape. So we're thinking it might be the Rainmaker system to the irrigation, or it might just be all the rain that we've had because it's so lush and beautiful out there. So you got to come check it out for yourself for sure.
And one other thing, about we talked about the growth of golf, which I think is obviously important for anyone. You mentioned for the kids in tournaments that they play for, because we had a few people texting about, how do they, are these tournaments readily available? Is it pretty easy for kids? And, what's your recommendation on age and maybe skill set to get into a tournament?
Yeah, you know what? It is the sky's the limit. I have an 8-year-old that I'm working with on the coaching side. He's actually played on the world stage, and he hits the ball a ton already at 8 years old. But there's some really great opportunities with Golf Canada and Alberta Golf. There's the McLennan Ross Junior Tour, which is just a real teaching tool for kids that have never done it before and want to get involved in tournament-style golf. It's an absolutely whole different animal for those of you that know that have ever played a tournament, had to count every stroke, had to really focus on what the rules were. Once again, we're all learning. I'm learning even as a pro. There's some new rules that come out all the time. You've seen PGA things that you're like, I didn't even realize that. But anyway, there's the McLennan Ross. There's also the Maple Leaf Junior Golf Tour that's available. It's very simple. They're just registrations. You register and then you can enter into the events, and they have them all over the city, all over the province. So great opportunities there to just continue to grow and get in that competitive stream if that's something your child wants to do.
And lastly, for our young intern Donovan, do you still have mingle nights on Thursdays?
There you go. We do have mingle nights, and you know what? This is something one of our owners kind of came up with. It's great. Although it does throw golf in there, which can get frustrating and maybe show some of the sides that we don't. But yeah, every Thursday night we have mingle night, and it's a great opportunity to just come out, meet someone new, and golf 9 holes. It's just a lot of fun. And I think it's something that people should take advantage of. And we just kind of pair people up randomly, and you get to mingle and golf and maybe have a drink in our amazing Out of Bounds restaurant after as well. So it's a really great time.
Awesome. Well, we might sign them up. That's good to know. I love it. Awesome. Jay, thanks for this, man. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the playoffs.
I appreciate it, Jay. You too. Thanks so much for having me on.
That's Jason Waugh from Cattail Cross. It's amazing how many more kids are getting into golf now, and you know they make it more affordable. And that Operation 36, my son did it. And it's such a great way to learn the game because, most of us, everybody, hey, get to the driving range, crush your driver. And we talked about how many few strokes you take with your driver compared to the other clubs. And this teaches them from 25 yards out, then to 50, and then to 70. Then you go to 100 yards out. And all of it's like 50 to 100 is a big jump.
Yeah.
Right? It's a big jump. And because basically how it works is you got to shoot par 4 on all 9 holes from 25 yards out, which sounds easy, but not when you're just starting.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, like how many people God, I hate 25-yard shots. Like they're the worst, right? Then you go to 50. And it was a great way. Him and I, now we play par 3s, and you know what? He can hit it far enough on some of them. We played one where there was a few water, and he hit it over the water. It's like he won the cup, man. He was pumped right up. So it's a great way to get kids if you're like, how do I get them involved? And the great part is I don't play with them. He goes with the teacher, and they learn, and it's much better. So check it out at Cattail Crossing. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Sale ends tomorrow. If you're thinking about it, you need some new tires. You need some summer tires. Get all big savings, including on Goodyear, but only till tomorrow at fountaintire.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Week 2 of the CFL, or week 1 of the CFL season kicks off tonight. Game 2, you got Hamilton and Calgary meeting in Calgary. That one's starting just after 7 o'clock. And tomorrow, Elks and Rough Riders meeting down at Commonwealth. That's starting at 2 o'clock. The Riverhawks have their season opener or home opener tonight at Remax Field, taking on Nanaimo. That'll get going just after 7 o'clock. 2 teams being tomorrow at 5 or 1 o'clock as well. Major League Baseball, the Jays in action at 7:40, taking on the Athletics. Also, tomorrow and Sunday, meeting at 2:07. Both those games can be heard right here on Sports 1440. Radio feed only. Also, the Diamondbacks in San Diego. Angels hosting the Astros. Mariners take on the Royals. Battle of the Sox between Boston and Chicago. Giants up against the Rangers. The Reds host the Cubbies. Dodgers take on the Yankees. Rays and Orioles. Pirates, Twins. Brewers in Detroit. WNBA Commissioner Cup rolling on tonight. The 0-10 Mystics hosting the Fever. You also the Storm heading to Vegas, taking on the Aces. Sparks host the Wings, and the Lynx taking on the Phoenix Mercury. At the Memorial right now, Scotty Scheffler atop the leaderboard at 9 under par. Victor Holland at 6 under, as is Canadian Adam Hadwin. Other Canadians in the field, Corey Connors even. You got Taylor Pendrith and Adam Svensson, both 1 over. Nick Taylor 2 over. They'll all make the cut, and it looks like Mackenzie Hughes just going to miss out. Cuts +4. He's currently 5 over par. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Craig Button from the NHL on TSN and Ask 5 Questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
The playoffs are wild. We all know that. And this year, Play Alberta is making it even wilder. Make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10+ odds boost on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win a pair of lower bowl or even exclusive sweet tickets for an Oilers playoff game just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at playalberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
As a business owner, you know that good business is based on good relationships. So imagine, how would you feel if your commercial insurance was driven by people, not products? At High Street Insurance, we've been serving Canadian businesses like yours for 10 years. People, taking care of people. We take the time to learn about your business so we can ensure that your insurance coverage is finely tuned to the nuances of your commercial situation. Good protection starts with understanding you. Reach out to us today at highstreetinsurance.com.
0% for 60 months. I'm not kidding. Where? Well, it's GMC Buick. And it's GMC's Adventure Calls event. Pick out a new 2024 Sierra with finance rates as low as 0% for up to 60 months. If you're a Costco member, you get another $1,200 off purchase price on any 2024 in-stock Sierra. We're talking half tons, 3/4 tons, even 1 tons. If you'd rather an SUV, we've got low lease payments and an awesome selection on GMC Terrain. So get in today and get your adventure on. Wolf, GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
The Toronto Blue Jays are on Sports 1440. Every weekend, catch all the action with play-by-play announcer Ben Schulman. The Blue Jays, this Saturday and Sunday on Sports 1440. Edmonton's home for all things sports.
Warmer, brighter days can make you crave something to sip. Booster Juice is busting out booster mixers, the summer fixers. Cold, tasty sippers in 5 vibrant varieties. The Mango Teaser, Berry Teaser, Almighty Acai, Game Set Matcha, and Oranges and Cream. Try all 5 and brighten your day a sip at a time. And try the Cookies and Cream Booster Ball, the yummy little bundle of almond butter, maple syrup, coconut, and gluten-free cookies. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
Join Kidsport Edmonton's Bids for Kids, presented by GS Construction, June 19th, 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Bell in Scona. Celebrate 29 years of Kidsport with 90s attire and courage. Tickets are $75, including entry into a mountain getaway draw. Enjoy a night of sports talk, appetizers and bevies, silent auction, 50-50, and a beer tree raffle. All funds raised support local Kidsport Kids registration fees. Visit kidsportbids4kids.com for tickets. Event is 18+.
Rev up your engines for an afternoon of fun at Cars for a Cause. Get up close and personal with hundreds of classic and collector vehicles. Enjoy live music from the Metro Nomad and check out the food trucks, ice cream vendors, and the Omen Brewing Beer Tent. Tickets are $20. Kids 12 and under get in free. All proceeds support the Parkinson Association of Alberta. June 15th at Yesterday's Auto Gallery on 51st Avenue. For more info, visit parkinsonassociation.ca.
When it comes to your heavy haul trailers, don't settle for a patch job that will fall apart after a hard day's work. Bring your unit to AccuSteel Heavy Haul Trailers. They'll solve the problem once and for all, keeping you working with limited interruptions. For 25 years, their experts have been providing highway and off-road custom trailers for mining, oil and gas construction, and renewable industries. They're your industry leader in engineered heavy haul trailer frame repairs, retrofits, rebuilds, and custom trailer fabrication. Learn more at accusteel.ca.
Just after 4 o'clock. How are you? Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. 26 hours. The countdown is on. Hockey fans, for the Stanley Cup final, go to playalberta.ca. Oilers are an underdog. If you feel they shouldn't be, use the promo code Gregor50. Get a free $50 play with a $5 minimum deposit. Good luck. Playalberta.ca. Of course, you also have, man, there's lots going on. Of course, if you go to the Riverhawks home opener tonight, then they have a game tomorrow afternoon at 1. The Elks season opener tomorrow at 2. But remember, at 11:30 is when the gates open. The field house is going to have all of the alumni, many of the greats, lots of guys, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, linebackers, quarterbacks, that they're on the wall of honor, and many other. There's going to be like close to 60 alumni there. So if you're a big fan of the green and gold, and you maybe want a picture taken, you want some autographs with them, they'll all be there. So check that out. It's 11:30 until 1:30, and then of course kickoff will be just after 2 o'clock. Let's go around the NHL now. Brought to you by McDonald's. Oh, is he next segment? All right. Well, I should read my script. I thought it was 4:20. It's only 4 o'clock. There we go. That's why I said 26 hours. Over there, right? Dial it in. I'm all fired up here. Brownie's telling me great stories during the commercial break. So might have to get Josh Green on the show here.
None we can tell on air.
Hey, Greener, holy cow, what are you doing? That's all I need to know. I'd have to get to the backstory of that one. Now, we do have a lot of texts coming in, 833-401-1440. Hey, boys, what's your thoughts on Colin Campbell's son being the assistant GM of Florida when he's already been caught trying to tamper for his son? Conspiracy crap or conflict of interest? Well, Colin Campbell doesn't work for the NHL anymore, so doesn't matter.
I didn't know he didn't. I don't know what he's doing though.
Yeah. I don't see any conflict of interest. And by the way, I'm not a conspiracy theorist in what, like, you think the assistant, GM of Florida is going to be able to pull weight in that regard? Like, no, it's not. I don't see any connection. Don't worry about things that don't matter. That's what I would say about it. Hey guys, did you see Pierre LeBrun's tweet about the officiating? How concerned are you? Well, I'm not concerned. I know he was saying, oh, it's a storyline. Well, hey, it gets people's reaction online. That's great. But just remember this. These officials that are in the Stanley Cup final have been graded all year long. The 2 best teams are in the Stanley Cup final. The 4 best officials all season long are in the Stanley Cup final. Okay, that's why they're there. There is a process to get there. They just don't, hey, you've been there the longest, you get in. No. Who's being evaluated, who's being ranked the best all year long. Do I think for a moment that the officials are going to be like, oh, we can't call penalties against Florida because Edmonton has a good power play? Did Dallas have penalties called against them in game 5 and 6? I think they did. Did the Oilers score in the power play? Yes. Did you think in the Dallas series there was massive missed calls against the Dallas Stars? Not that I saw, Brownie. And if anything, like, did you see how many people outside of Edmonton thought the Ryan Suter cross-check was weak and shouldn't have been a call? I didn't see a lot of those the other way saying, I can't believe that was a call or a non-call. Dallas is a very disciplined team. I didn't see the officials being a storyline at all. Penalties that were called. And in fact, I think there might have been more over the glass penalties some games and too many men on the ice penalties than there were infractions. That was not a physical series. I don't think the refs were an issue. Now, Florida, here's some fun numbers for you. Last year in the Stanley Cup final, Florida and Vegas, in the first 3 games of the Stanley Cup final, you want to know how many power plays there were total in 3 games? 29. 17, that's like 6 a game almost for Vegas. And they scored 6 goals on 17 chances. And Florida had 12 chances on the power play. They went 0 for 12. That was really the difference. They didn't score, but they still, even Vegas was getting 4 penalties a game in the Stanley Cup final for the first 3. Then the players kind of figured out what the standard was. If the penalties are there, I'm expecting the officials to call it. And I've said this many times and I'll repeat it. Edmonton fans, do not consider ever going down the path of Vancouver. Just don't do it. You won't feel good. You'll feel greasy. You'll feel terrible. Don't think the refs are out to get you. That's what losers think. People with a losing mentality, that's what they think. And that's what Vancouver does. They've always done it. They continue to do it. Don't do it.
You know what? I hope that it's not an issue. I don't see it being an issue, but I could see how people are bringing it up and talking about it. I mean, you got a handful of players. Who do you got here? You got Kane, you got
Kachuk, Bennett. Oh yeah.
You got a number of guys that are going to be playing on the edge. You look at Bennett, what he did to Marchand there, right? I mean, those guys that play for keeps and have that element to their game where they have to be a little bit dirty. That's it. They're going to push the limits, and they're going to push the limits of these refs. And I agree with you. I mean, they do have the 4 best refs are going to get into the Stanley Cup finals, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough on everyone, right? And it's going to be tough on the officials to try. There's going to be a lot of accidental, I meant to do that. And they're going to have to make that decision in a split decision.
Yeah. And I think it's always important. I try to remind everybody, when you're a fan of a team, now your team's in the Stanley Cup final and you're a diehard Oilers fan. Now, maybe there's a few Panther fans listening, but I think the most part are Oilers fans. So you're a diehard Oilers fan. You're emotionally engaged in the series. You want your team to win. Do you think for a moment you might have a bias because you want your team to win in any infraction that should be a penalty? It's okay. But just it's important to recognize that most fans who are yelling and screaming about the officials aren't necessarily rationally, and that's okay. I'm not complaining about it. I just say, if you want to yell in the comfort of your own home or to your friends, great. But don't go public and complain about it, because then you get the reputation of Vancouver. And I'm telling you, you don't want that reputation. I'm just telling you, go online, right? They will, look at how thin-skinned they got over Luke Gazdik's comments, right? Come on. You don't want to be that fan base, right? And in some instances, I'm sorry, members of their media, same thing. You don't want to do it. It's not healthy. And And it's timely for me when I watched the 30 for 30 about the riots. I didn't even remember the 1994 riots, to be honest. I didn't know they were that big. I remember the 2011 one and, the people being interviewed in there. And to their credit, all the ones that were interviewed, you know what, did not say they shouldn't have been punished. Like some of them went to jail. Actually went to jail, which, I get it when you're breaking and entering, stealing, looting. So I understand it. But there was also some who said, like, it's almost like this was not ingrained, but it was being talked about all the time. Like, that's what we do when we lose, we riot. Well, it's like, well, that's what we do when we lose in Vancouver's fans. We complain about the officials. And Edmonton doesn't have that reputation. So just don't even start. Don't get it started because it's unnecessary. The Oilers have not been screwed over by the officials ever in a reason why they lost series the last few years. It's not why. Okay. I know you didn't like the one call against the Anaheim Ducks. Okay. Sure. Right. Guy gets pushed in. Do you embellish the push? As Brownie said, accidentally on purpose? Sure. But it happened.
Do we not agree? Do we like Tkachuk, Kane, Perry, Carrick, like they can't just hit clean. I mean, part of their game is they have to be edgy and they have to be somewhat a little dirty.
Yeah, fair.
They have to be, right? So there has to be that ref element where it could be there hasn't been an issue, but it's going to be interesting to see how they call it because it is going to affect both teams and how they play. But I mean, those guys are good at what they do and they're valuable because they don't just play a clean brand of hockey.
Yeah, it's important. Like you mentioned, Bennett taking out Marchand, clean, hard hit, right?
But you're allowed to punch to your head.
Oh yeah,
right. Like that's valuable if you can get away with it.
Yeah, what did Dwayne Mandryk say last night? If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
And they're all going to be trying to do it. They have to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's the risk you can get caught. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll be interested. I want to see, for me, I want to see how he plays and the impact that he has.
Yeah. Because let's be honest, he hasn't had a major impact in the playoffs so far.
This is his series. I think it is built and made for him. Right. And I think if he can get in there, play between the whistles, and the key for him, and I think what Tkachuk does really well is he sticks around after when the whistle goes. Like he's not looking for butterflies in front of the net. He's not looking around. He's looking, he's looking you in the eye and he's sticking around there.
And because he's trying to goad you in.
Yeah.
Like what was like he has, what do they say? He has a very punchable looking face. You know what I mean? Like
those guys that just stick around,
they just do stuff and they stare at you and they're chewing on his mouth guard and probably chirping.
Yeah.
So they're going to try to get you off their game. And you know what? Edmonton can't fall trap to it, right? Like Boston did. Boston took 28 penalties in their series against Florida. 28, Brownie.
Yeah. It can't be after the whistle. You got to be playing hard, tough, aggressive, gritty. But when that whistle goes, you're done, but you still have to be there.
Yeah.
You got to stick around.
No, I have to. No, 100%. Craig Button will join us next. And by the way, people asked, hey guys, who are the officials in the playoffs? Well, the 4 officials are going to be Jean Hebert, Steve Kazari, Dan O'Rourke, Chris Rooney, and the linesman, which most of you probably don't know, which is great, but Devin Berg, Ryan Daisy, Matt McPherson, and Johnny Murray. So those are the officials for the 2024 Stanley Cup finals. And I don't know who the pairs are, if it's Hebert and Kazari and then O'Rourke and Rooney, we'll find out. And usually they kind of rotate, but not necessarily 1, 2, 3, 4. It changes a little bit. So we'll see how it goes. We'll come back with Craig Button on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Move Water is your one-stop shop for all things water. From freshwater to wastewater, we've got the pumps and solutions to keep your water moving where it matters most.
Move Water, your water solution experts.
Visit movewater.ca today.
There's still time to book your tournament at the Ranch Golf and Country Club.
As one of Alberta's top tourney courses, the Ranch makes hosting fun and easy for any group or business. No matter how unique or unusual, they'll accommodate your vision for an event no one will soon forget.
Start planning your tournament today at their beautifully landscaped course on the outskirts of West Edmonton. On-site event coordinators are here to help, but hurry, availability is limited and booking fast.
Visit theranchgolf.com.
The postseason is always exciting for hockey fans, but for GS, it's all about construction season. For 50 years, GS Construction has been laying the groundwork for your community, but they can't do it without the best team possible. GS Construction is scouting for experienced and motivated laborers, pipe layers or pipe layers helpers, lead hands, operators, top men or women, and a water and sewer foreman. Apply today and start working for the 2024 construction season. Visit gsconstruction.ca today.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
For a limited time at McDonald's, enjoy the tasty breakfast trio. Your choice of chicken or sausage McMuffin or McGriddles with a hash brown and a small premium roast coffee for $5 plus tax. Available until 11 a.m. at participating McDonald's restaurants. Price excludes delivery.
For Aselli hockey fans, your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Take your bedroom to the next level this spring at the Brick. Our bedroom event deals are here to help you renovate on a budget. Save up to $1,200 off sofas and sectionals and get up to 40% off bedroom furniture and mattresses. Plus, buy more, save more. Up to an additional $500 off major kitchen appliances and get free delivery on purchases of $4.99 or more. Take advantage of these fabulous deals today. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more. $425, welcome back. Gregor, Brown, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. We got loads of texts coming in, 833-401-1440. We'll get to those. But first, let's get to our playoff report brought to you by Action Electrical. Whether you need projects done, you got electrical preventative maintenance, maybe you need solar, they got it all. actionelectrical.net. As we are joined by former NHL GM and scout, Stanley Cup champion, ace analyst now for TSN, Craig Button, as we are but officially 26 hours away from the 2024 Stanley Cup final. And obviously in Edmonton, there's a lot of excitement. Their team is back in it since first time since 2006. It was media day today. You know, the players, they go through it all. And, you know, they're obviously now after that, you try to get refocused and away you go. What's one storyline, Craig? So I'll ask you to fill in the blank for both. Florida is going to win if blank happens. Edmonton will win if blank happens.
Well, I think Florida will win if they can really bottle up Edmonton with that ferocious forecheck. And that forecheck isn't just the way they grind you down in your defensive zone. It's the way that they reload coming from the top of the circles into the neutral zone. And they don't really give you a chance to breathe or to be able to relieve that type of pressure. Edmonton will win. I really think if they can take advantage. I don't think it just comes down to those two, but you got McDavid, you have Draisaitl. Florida has Barkov, and we know how good Barkov is. He's a Selke Trophy winner, and I don't care. I don't care who you're up against or who's up against them. You know, that's a hard matchup. But whoever's not up against Barkov, I think is going to have some freedom, is going to have some opportunity to really assert themselves. I think Forsling becomes a real key after that with respect to trying to keep one of those guys who they're not up against, because I think if it's Bennett or Lundell, Draisaitl or McDavid, like it's not a fair matchup. So the ability to relieve yourself and to alleviate yourself with a forecheck will be key. McDavid and Draisaitl become that, and if Florida establishes that forecheck, and watching the first 3 series, Florida dominated. They dominated Tampa Bay. They dominated Boston. They dominated the New York Rangers. If the Edmonton Oilers get dominated, they're not going to win the Stanley Cup.
Craig, it looks like the experts are picking Florida to win the Stanley Cup. Gregor and I were talking about it earlier. And he asked me about why I think or what I think. And, you look at the New Jersey Devils back when Lou Lamoriello was there and they trapped, is this a case of the Edmonton Oilers being labeled maybe as a team, an organization, and maybe even certain players like maybe a Bouchard not being able, not strong enough defensively? Or is this an Oiler team in a small sample size that is growing right in front of our eyes and should be given a little bit more respect?
Well, I think they should be given tons of respect, Sean. And, when you consider where the Edmonton Oilers find themselves, and I'm just going to go to November 13th. They've been one of the best defensive teams in the National Hockey League. I think that the Edmonton Oilers became a real strong team. They became a strong team because I think when Chris came in along with Paul Coffey, and you've heard Chris talk about Mark Stewart, we know what Glenn Gulletson has done with the power play. Everybody, I think now on the Edmonton Oilers team became important to the success of the team. In the past, what I always felt was, and this is my own feeling, and I'm not so sure it's any different from the feelings of Edmonton Oilers fans and people that have watched. When things weren't going their way, it was like, okay, 97-29, go get us out of the mud, go get us, we're in the ditch, go get us out of here. And I think that there was this feeling that they were less of a team and more of individual players and great players. And this isn't a knock. I think Chris really came in here and forged the team identity. Since November 13th, they've been an outstanding offensive team, an outstanding defensive team, excellent on the power play, really good on the penalty kill. In the playoffs, they've been outstanding on the penalty kill. If you want to take them lightly, do it at your peril. I think both teams come into this Stanley Cup final with their strengths. I think Edmonton has learned how to be really, really patient. I think if you go and look at games 6 and 7 of the Vancouver series, games 4, 5, and 6 versus the Dallas series, all Edmonton wins. Just go back and look at that template. Like, those were good teams in Vancouver and Dallas, and they couldn't muster up enough of an attack because Edmonton understands what they need to do to win. They execute, and they don't just put all their eggs in the 97-29 basket. And I think that's what good teams need to do. So they deserve lots of respect. And I think they can win the Stanley Cup. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying they can't win the Stanley Cup. I'm just saying that the one area that I think they can take advantage of. If anybody's looking at Evan Bouchard right now and not seeing an elite number one defenseman in the entire National Hockey League, then you're not seeing the obvious, because he's been brilliant as the Edmonton Oilers have been brilliant.
Craig Button joined us. And, Craig, how much stock do you put in it? Because I went into a deep dive. I love looking at numbers. And you're right. Florida, like the Rangers weren't a very good 5-on-5 team all year long. And Florida was the best defensive 5-on-5 team all year long. They were actually 26th in offense, but they were number 1 in defense. So I wasn't surprised they were all over the Rangers. And Tampa Bay was actually not a very good team 5-on-5, whether you went with actual goals or expected goals. They were -18 5-on-5, and then they're -6 in expected. Edmonton's been a better 5-on-5 team. So where's the chance? Like, I don't think Florida has faced a team 5-on-5 yet in the playoffs that matches Edmonton's 5-on-5 play. How do you think Edmonton will be a challenge that Florida hasn't seen 5-on-5?
Well, because number one, they got quickness up front, right? And when I watch the Edmonton Oilers play, like, let's just look at the penalty kill. So when I think about the penalty kill, people use this term, and I think it's a good term. You have to be connected. So first guy on the puck, next guy to position, where's the release when there's pressure on that guy, and then you're out of your zone. Edmonton does that exceptionally well. That's how you become a really good 5-on-5 team. I don't think 5-on-5 play offensively is necessarily the key to being a good 5-on-5 team. I think if you're good defensively in 5-on-5 and you can execute with that connection, get to a puck, move it, next guy, and you're out. And Edmonton does that. Edmonton does it really well. I mean, again, since this isn't something they just woke up and started to do. This is something they've done since November 13th under Chris Knobloch. Listen, there's been, it did start on November 13th, but since Chris came in, they've been outstanding. So you're right, Jason, in my view, because what Florida has been able to do is suffocate teams with the forecheck. And listen, if they can suffocate the Edmonton Oilers with the forecheck, Edmonton's going to have a tough time. But Edmonton has shown that they can beat that pressure and they can beat it well. And then when they get moving in the other direction offensively, okay, who would you rather have? I mean, there's nobody on the planet that's not going to say 97-29. And if they do, you're as dumb as that writer in Florida that called them McOverrated.
Craig, is there a player on either team that you think maybe has had a good playoff, but not maybe a great playoff, could be kind of an X factor, maybe like, an Evander Kane?
Well, I'm with you, Sean. I mean, if you didn't mention Evander Kane, I would have said it. I think Evander Kane is built for this type of series. I think that the heavy, hard play that the Florida Panthers deliver, Evander's not going to shy away from that. Evander's going to embrace it. He's going to dig in on that. And I think that becomes really, really significant with respect to what the Oilers can try to do to get some good, strong play from some other players. And I think Evander, I think back to the Calgary series in 22, Sean, and I think how good Evander was. And, even in the Colorado series, he ended up getting suspended for one game, but I think he's built for this type of series, and having him on your side, I think, is really positive. For the Florida Panthers, you look down their lineup, and we know how good Reinhart has been, and Verhaeghe and whatnot. So I think the one player, and he's been good. Don't get me wrong, he's been good. That if they could get a little bit more from it would be Aaron Ekblad, and not that hasn't given them a lot, but you're going to be handling a lot of speed. You're going to be handling a lot of offensive prowess. If he can be up to that task, I think that he can be a guy that, given the level of play in the Stanley Cup final, that elevates. If he can really be a key factor, that would be the guy for me for Florida.
Greg Button joins us here on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook. You also got the combine going on, Craig, right now. And obviously, the draft is a few weeks away. We were talking about it earlier. Sometimes you get into the final few weeks of the draft and sometimes you can hurt yourself because you start looking for things that you don't like. Just, this guy can't be that good. So we try to look for things you don't like. And then those become a point of conversation rather than all the things you liked about the player for the last 2 years. Right. So what are maybe some of the mistakes or some of the things you have to avoid in your amateur scout meetings leading up to the draft?
I would just say you nailed it. Don't talk yourself out of something that you like. Barry Fraser, longtime director of personnel for the Edmonton Oilers, a great scout. He told me this many years ago, and I'll never forget him telling me this. He said when he first saw Paul Coffey play, he said, if that guy can't play in the NHL, he said, I'm getting out of the business, because if I can't identify that type of quality and that type of skill, and he said, Craig, you go and you watch players and then you like them and then you go back and there's something that didn't go right. Now you start to think that maybe they're not as good as you thought. He goes, if you believe in how you're evaluating players and you know what you're looking for and you know what the NHL type of qualities that are necessary, he said, trust it. And so what I would say is trust yourself. Les Jackson, who currently works for the Florida Panthers in an advisory position, just outstanding. And I remember him always saying this, I'd rather be wrong with my opinion than right with somebody else's. Don't listen to anybody else. Don't listen to what other people are saying. Don't listen to the public scouting. That includes me. Everybody has an opinion. You better trust what you're doing. because I never once in all my years in hockey have I ever heard a team stand up when they scouted a player or drafted a player and said, you know what, we drafted Sean Brown, but we're really concerned about this, and that. They drafted Sean Brown because he was an excellent skater, he was rugged, he was physical, and he was a hard player to play against. Tell me the next time you hear a team draft a player and tell you that they drafted him because of something they didn't like.
Craig, out of curiosity, we talked about teams maybe getting labeled as, playing a certain way and players, reaching their ceiling or not being able to play a certain way. Is there anyone that you can think of that maybe you've drafted or been around that you're like, wow, this guy I kind of had him as a defensive defenseman, but he's elevated and brought other areas to his game?
Well, I'm going to use the best example because his son is in the draft this year, Sean, and that's Jerome Aguila. Now we love Jerome. We drafted Jerome, and we thought, and this is what we thought of Jerome. We thought 30 goal scorer, maybe a 35 goal scorer, kind of a rugged, kind of a power forward. That's what we thought he'd be. 625 goals. He was way better than we thought he'd be. And I think that's one of the things. Jim Nill taught me this when he was with Detroit. He said, use a sliding scale. He said, okay, at the very least, you think he can be this. Maybe he could be that. Try to put a percentage on it and then just say, okay, if we have this, then we'll celebrate that. If he ends up being this, then that's a bonus. And what can we do to develop that next part without losing the first part? I believe, Sean, that a lot of teams over the course of history in the NHL overproject players. And when you overproject, what ends up happening is now when the player doesn't hit what you thought they'd be, now you're disappointed. Just because you overproject or didn't project accurately doesn't mean the player can't be valuable. I'm going to use another example. That's Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett was drafted 4th overall by Calgary. They thought he'd be this. Well, he wasn't. But what Sam Bennett is really, really a good, strong player in his own regard. Celebrate what he is. And when you overproject, you become disappointed. And I'm going to finish with another great example. And he's going to the Hall of Fame too. Leon Draisaitl in that same draft went 3rd overall. And, Leon was a good player. He was a player that you watched, and you watch about how much he developed. He improved his skating. He improved his pace. And there was no question he should have been the 3rd overall pick or right in there. Now you look back at that draft. I mean, there's nobody close to him. Just like in 1995, there was nobody close to Jerome.
Craig Button joined us. Craig, last one. When you look at the Stanley Cup final, we've talked a lot about breaking it down. To me, it's a lot of fun. How much do you put on the fact that when you got the best player and the second best player in a Stanley Cup final, usually you win?
Yeah, it's true. And and again, that goes back to what I was saying about a team, right? So now the team in Edmonton has become that much more proficient around them. They've had the best 2 players, or arguably 2 of the best players in the National Hockey League in the last number of playoffs. And look what happened last year with the Vegas Golden Knights. That was a team that couldn't match up with McDavid and Draisaitl. But to me now, Edmonton is so much better as a team.
Yes.
And when you become much better as a team, I think McDavid has 31 points and Draisaitl has 29. It's not that they're any less brilliant, but the strength around them allows them to not have to have every focus on them. So you're right. And that's why I say Edmonton, like we can sit down, you can ask me, okay, who do you think will win or who do you think is the favorite? Okay, we all do that. But if anybody wants to say that Edmonton can't win, I don't think they've been paying attention to the impact that the team has and certainly what those 2 guys, and you guys know this, and every Edmonton Oilers fan knows this. This is exactly where Draisaitl and McDavid wanted to be, where they expected to be, and they are going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Craig, it'll be fun. Enjoy it. I'm going to ask you this. Who do you think will be the unexpected hero offensively for either team in this series?
Unexpected hero?
Yeah, like a big goal at a key time. Like not the key guys.
Goal. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to say 97 or 29 or Reinhardt or those guys. I'll go with Florida. I'll go Evan Rodriguez, and I'll go to Edmonton. And you might be surprised when I say this, because I think this guy is built for this type of series too. I'm going to say Corey Perry.
Ooh, the worm. All right.
He's built for this series.
Wow.
This is a series that he'll embrace.
Well, there is a good high factor of ratness in this series, and I mean that in a good way. So it should
I
be
do
good.
too. And
Yeah.
I mean, and Corey, consider this. Corey's going to play in the Stanley Cup final for a fifth different team.
Crazy.
No other player in the history of the National Hockey League has ever done that. I think when they got Corey Perry, I thought it was a really good addition. And now the fact that they're playing Florida in the Stanley Cup final, I think it's a great addition.
Yeah, for sure. Craig, great stuff, my man. Enjoy it. We will chat with you next Friday.
We will look forward to it. I'll be up in Edmonton for 3 and 4.
Oh, hey, that's next Thursday, Friday. Say, hey, maybe we'll have to have you come in studio. We'll try to figure it out.
I'll do that.
We'll see. All right, I love it.
Okay.
Okay. Have a good one.
Have a great day.
There you go.
Thanks.
It's Craig Button from TSN. I love it. What a beauty of a guy. Craig, never, you know what I like about Butts? He'll always give you his opinion. Doesn't ride the fence.
Yeah.
Gives you his opinion. Guess what? Doesn't mean he's always right. But like no one's ever right. If you were right all the time, good for you. You're the first human being in sports history who's right about every prediction. And predictions are just fun. That's all they are. I don't take it. Oh, this one. I find it odd that according to LeBron, because I haven't seen it anywhere else, but LeBron was the only one who had like a 29-4 favoring, where the odds makers don't have it like that. You can read lots of other picks. It's not that drastic. So, like I said, I don't like anonymous ones. So I'd like to know who these people are. That's all. See. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk 5 questions, and also something that Brownie could have used when he was a player. And sometimes when you know what you don't have, then you make it. We'll discuss it next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com. The playoffs are wild. We all know that. And this year, Play Alberta is making it even wilder. Make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10+ odds boost on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win a pair of lower bowl or even exclusive suite tickets for an Oilers playoff game just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at playalberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Vincent Pearson at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the word. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
It's City Ford's spring clear-out event. Get massive discounts, 0% financing, drive now, pay later. Get up to $10,000 credit card cash. Just pick what's best for you.
During this event, get massive discounts up to $22,000 on brand new F-150s, up to $8,000 on Edges and Broncos, up to $4,700 on brand new Escape.
Get a 2024 Bronco Sport for $209 bi-weekly, or a 2023 F-150 Super Crew for only $297 bi-weekly.
We have 17 previously owned SUVs, all for under $500 a month, like a 2020 all-wheel drive Escape, only $187 bi-weekly. Plus, we have a huge selection of used trucks. Get a 2021 F-150 Super Crew for only $258 bi-weekly.
Exclusive to City Ford. With every purchase, spin and win a barbecue, pressure washer, TV, pizza oven, or a trip to Vegas.
Bottom line is, at City Ford, prices have been slashed. Payments cut in half. And with 3 licensed appraisers on duty, you'll get more for your trade. But it's only at City Ford on the St. Albert Trail.
$4.49. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick, where, hey, the big 4-day event starts today. Now until Monday, huge savings, 30% off home entertainment, furniture, and fireplaces, 25% off love seats, recliners, and dining furniture, but it ends Monday night. So if you need to de-stress because you're just nervous, getting set for game 1, or we're getting set for game 2, go shopping Friday, Sunday at The Brick.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys, question number 1. Let's get the official prediction for the Stanley Cup final and an X factor for each team going into Saturday's game 1.
Go ahead, Gregor. Good question, Collins. I will say X factor going into game 1. Well, I'll stick with mine. I think it's Darnell Nurse. He's got to play well.
I'm going to stick with Kane.
Okay.
Yep.
And for Florida, I will say their X factor will be Evan Rodrigue on that line. Can he match the intensity of his other 2 line mates in Bennett and Tkachuk?
I'll go with Bennett. Can Bennett be a physical presence without taking penalties?
Also, a series prediction from both of you.
Oh, I said Edmonton in 6, so I'll stick with it.
Edmonton in 7.
Ooh.
Question number 2. According to reports, the Flyers weighing the possible buyouts of veteran forward Cam Atkinson and goaltender Cal Peterson. When you look around the NHL this offseason, anyone else stand out to you as a potential buyout candidate?
I read the question wrong, but I thought it was, are we interested in either one of those players? And I would think that, the Oilers are in obviously a great position now, but they also need to be in a great position next year when you still have the 2 best players. So I think that's one thing that, when I think back of Lou Lamoriello and his ability to buy players or not buy players, but to get players that have been bought out, right? That maybe haven't quite lived up to expectations in other organizations. I think that's the key, to a good GM, is to be able to find those guys where, it just hasn't quite worked out, and you got them in a position where, this is not the last crack, but it's getting close to near the end. And if you find that guy, it could put your team over the hump.
Yeah. Buyout options. There's a few, like the one last year that was crazy was the Leafs could have bought out TJ Brody and had a 0 cap hit just because it was a weird thing. 0. Instead they didn't, $5 million. He was a healthy scratch at times in the playoffs. Right. So you look at ones like that can, make you big savings right away. Like I know a lot of people are texting in already. Jack Campbell. You could do it, but the Oilers already have a lot of dead cap space, and adding more, I don't know, man. They might be best off to bite the bullet and find out a team that's willing to, you give up a pick or whatever to get rid of it. I think that'd be much more worthwhile. So I'm going to say not Jack Campbell, just because I think we'll be asked that question a lot.
Question number 3. Since the Elks are honoring so many great alumni members this weekend, who would you say is your favorite player to lace them up for the Double E?
I'm going to have to go with Dave Cutler, just because he's the kicker.
What?
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you why, though.
Okay.
Right? I coached his grandson in minor hockey in Strathcona.
Okay. Dave's the beauty of a guy.
Yeah.
Did he come out and did you show you how he used to like kick with his toe? Like it was a
No, but yeah, that's the kind of, so I looked him up and yeah, he kind of had the old Iron Sheik kind of boot.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go with him just because I got to know him a little bit through coaching his grandson, and he enjoyed coming down and talking to the kids and giving them an inspirational speech before they went out. I could go with pinball, because the funny thing with pinball, we did that. What was it called? The Carnival of Champions. And I think it was my first year in Edmonton, and I got stuck on the dunk tank with him. And that guy's jacked and he's big, and he took off his shirt, and I was like, wow, I think I'll keep my shirt on, but he'd be an easy one to go with as well.
Oh man, there's lots of them, but it has to go with Gizmo Williams for me. Is like Giz in his heyday when you were a young kid, you were just like, oh my God, like you would just wait. You'd almost, hey guy, no, 2-0, for the your defense, get off so you could get a punt return. Like it was amazing. So yeah, Gizmo Williams for sure.
Question number 4. Who's your pick to win the Canadian Grand Prix this weekend in Montreal?
Well, I think Ferrari shapes up very well. So now which one? Who do I want? I will go with, you know what? I'm going to go with Sainz.
With who?
Carlos.
I'll go Red Bull. That isn't that Max?
Yeah, that's Verstappen.
Yeah.
All right.
He's leading, isn't he?
Yeah, they haven't won for a while. Then they didn't like their car and setup, but that doesn't mean anything. So yeah, it's not a bad pick. Like it's not like, hey, geez, Max Verstappen won. I can't believe it. Yeah, it's not a bad pick.
Final question, guys. Hypothetical Friday. So tomorrow's going to be a great day in town. Obviously, you got the Riverhawks or the Elks, and you can raise someone watch the Oilers. Plus, you got the Stingers on Sunday. So, what would be the dream sports day / weekend? And it has to be realistic. You can't say like a Lakers game and then a New York Jets game, like fly cross country. That is possible, but something a little more simple that you could do, and it'd be a great couple days.
Well, that's only possible if you have a charter flight, right? So you'd have to have the money to have a charter flight. So I guess it's possible if you do that, but I don't have the money to buy for a charter flight. So. What would be? Ooh, it's a good question. I would love to, if they're in the same city, so I could watch the NBA finals one night and the NHL finals the next night. That's what I'd want.
You could do that. What, Toronto?
Well, you do it in Dallas. You do it in tons of cities if they're both in it.
Yeah.
Right. So that's now. Who would I want? I don't like the Lakers, so no, I would. Definitely not. And I would say, I would want. See, the problem is that there's the NBA team I like, but then I don't like their NHL team, or vice versa. So I'd have to
be Toronto.
Why would it have to be Toronto?
We have blood in Toronto.
Yeah,
nephew.
I know, but it'll be a tough one, man.
I think the Leafs are going to make it.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's realistic. Who's going to make the Cup final, Brownie? Sorry, Noah.
No one's going to like my answer then.
I'm trying to think of teams that could be playing each other. So then, they're on the road and at home, right? So, yeah, I don't know concept. I'm just going to say NBA and NHL back-to-back days. So you could stay there in one city for 3 days and see 2 games or 3. That'd be awesome.
NBA and baseball. Or sorry. Well, yeah. Baseball. Yeah. NBA, baseball. Toronto. Raptors.
No, well, you're a Toronto guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? The Skydome. No, they don't even call it the Skydome. What is it?
Yeah,
Rogers
but
Dome?
it wouldn't be playoffs at the same time. That's all.
Yeah. Well, hockey.
No, it could be NBA hockey.
I want to go to a Jays game this summer.
Yeah, well, why don't you?
I'm going to.
Okay, good.
Just the fact that they've done the stadium's redone.
Yeah, it does look good. I know. Yeah,
it looks like a lot of fun.
I haven't been to a Jays game in a long time, so it's probably not a bad call.
The rentals look good.
Cons, you? Chargers, they don't have another team in their city, so
We'll make it a road game. I'll go to Vegas. I'll check out the
Got some
Chargers,
hidden money.
Raiders, and then Oilers, Golden Knights a couple days later. I think that'd be a nice one, or probably not the same day, but yeah, maybe even if the timing can overlap when the Athletics go to Vegas, that could be good too.
Ooh, nice. You could do a weekend once where like you go to New York or Chicago and you could literally see NBA, NHL, ML. You could see all of it if you timed it. And if the schedule worked, but you could see it. Now it might be the Islanders and not the Rangers or whatever, but
yeah,
you could see all the 4 major sports in in October, right? They'd have to be in the playoffs, one of those cities, but you could do it. Well, that'd be fun. Now, before we let you go, Brownie, I was joking in the last break about things that Sean Brown would have liked to have had when he played. And so you have, you're working on, is it like an advanced shooter tutor? What do you call it?
I don't. It's just kind of a shooter tutor. I mean, I have a son that plays hockey,
but it's not 4 corners.
No, it's kind of. Connor, I don't know if you can put it up on Twitter or I can put it up there, and maybe you could help me share it. But it just basically outlines the post, right? And so the target is the outside of the post. There's a couple squares in there, and there's also a little area for a 5-hole. But basically, I made it for my son to shoot.
Upstairs a lot across the whole goal. I noticed the whole top of the net is like 3 inches.
Yeah.
And you got to put the puck in that 3-inch gap.
Yeah. And so for me, it's a simple way of just kind of working on your shot. But I built it basically needed
it's
it.
up. Anybody who's watching can see it right now on our YouTube.
For when I run hockey schools, I mean, the traditional shooter tutor is good, but it's a pain in the butt to get pucks out.
Oh.
Right. So this type of setup makes it a lot easier to be able to retrieve pucks because
it's made of metal.
Made of metal.
So it'll last.
It's very durable. But you can get pucks out a lot quicker, and I find it a lot more challenging than a traditional shooter tutor.
Well, you're right, because the gaps, if you look at it up the top and down the side of the net, like is that 4 inches or 3? What is it?
It's like 3.
About 3 inches.
Yeah.
So it's really good if you want to become an accurate. Like think of Leon Draisaitl and why he scores from the sharp angle all the time, because he puts it up like upstairs in like that 3-inch area where that's literally the only place you can go to score.
Yeah.
And he's doing it. Oh, so when you keep hitting the same spot, it's because you've practiced hitting that same spot time and time again. And this would be one where you can have your son or your daughter, or if you're a weekend warrior and you want to go from 10 goals to 15 in your men's league season, you can get one of these.
So it fits all nets. I mean, my son, I bought him a real net.
How does it put on? Like, how do you put it on?
It's easy. Just 2 hooks. Right, so there's no straps or anything like that.
It's rounded hooks.
Rounded hooks just sits on there, and so it can sit on.
I don't have to take 10 straps.
Nothing.
Okay.
Right, and it fits on your traditional.
How heavy is it?
It is a little heavy just because it's durable. I'd say it's probably maybe 30 pounds. I never actually weighed it, but it's not bad. It does have some weight to it because, like I said, it's not going to break down. But what I like about it, and what I did with my son, is I bought him a real net because I was like, you're going to practice. You might as well practice on a net with the real dimensions.
Oh yeah, smart.
So yeah, it's kind of a cool idea.
What do you call this? Do you
call it the sniper? The sniper. Yeah. So I couldn't think of anything else.
Well, why not? I like it. Looks pretty. I like the idea of it. Right, like there's different areas. You can see the small 5-hole one, right, which is kind of symbolize it. The bottom is open.
Yeah.
As well.
The biggest thing is to be able to get pucks out is really. It's convenient, right?
Yeah.
Especially,
that's fair.
If you're using it at a recreational rink or whatever, and you're running drills, you don't want to spend too much time trying to get pucks out. It just eats up the time. And
I do love this for on ice and practice for teams who don't have 2 goalies.
Yeah.
So you have a goalie at one end, and the shooter tutor's like just the corners, and you're like, yeah, but nowadays kids you're not just shooting at the corners, right? Like you want to go above the pad. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you can go above pad, low pad, high pad, or high blocker, low blocker on the sides where you normally have to shoot to score.
That's why that little square there above the low one is basically above the pad, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like I said, it's very engaging.
Now, how can you get the sniper?
Just go on our website, breakouthockey.com or breakouthockey.ca.
Breakouthockey.ca.
Yeah, just send us an email there, and
all right.
I'll get your information and
the sniper.
There you go, and just. improving one kid at a time.
Yeah, things Sean Brown was not the sniper.
But you know what it's like. I mean, you have
Oh,
a
dude,
son,
I
right?
get
You
it.
have a son, and
Yeah.
we all spend a lot of time with our kids, but it's also nice for our kids to learn to play by themselves and, spend a little bit of time working on your craft and not always a dad or someone having to be with you. So I found with my son that kept him busy for a lot of years.
Oh, I like it. Brownie, have a good weekend. Enjoy the games.
Thanks, guys.
Let's get to the Con Man Sports 1440 update brought to you by High Street Insurance, driven by people, not products, helping out all Canadian businesses, locally owned and operated. Started right here in Edmonton, expanded nationally, but they still call Edmonton home. Go Oilers, go from highstreetinsurance.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Week 1 of the CFL continues. Hamilton and Calgary taking on the Stamps. Kickoff 7 o'clock. Of course, tomorrow you got the Elks and the Riders down at Commonwealth. That'll get going at 2 o'clock. The Edmonton Riverhawks home opener tonight. Taking on a Nanaimo. That one gets going at 7 o'clock. Those two teams meet again tomorrow at 1 in the majors. The Jays are in action tonight, kicking off a series with the Athletics at 7:40. These two teams will meet tomorrow and Sunday as well. Both games can be heard right here on Sports 1440 in the WNBA. The Commissioner's Cup rolls on. Fever Mystics. You got the Aces and the Storm. Wings in LA to take on the Sparks, and the Mercury hosting the Lynx at the Memorial after 2 rounds. Scotty Scheffler atop the leaderboard. Victor Hovland and Adam Hadwin tied for second at 6 under par. As for the other Canadians, you got Corey Connors even, Taylor Pendrith and Adam Svensson 1 over, Nick Taylor 2 over par, Mackenzie Hughes, this is the cut, shooting a 5 over. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Mark Spectre of Rogers Sportsnet and Alan Mitchell from the Lowdown with Low Tide. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Hold on to your hockey helmet, Edmonton. On the Rocks is serving up 60-cent wings that fly off the plate faster than a slap shot.
And Molson Canadian for $4.50.
OTR's TVs, they're so clear.
You'll see the puck better than the rest.
Plus, every game night during Edmonton's playoff run gives you a chance to be part of the Sack Attack.
You could win a Hyman jersey.
This is our year.
And our time to cheer.
Be a part of the legend.
On the Rocks. On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave 118th.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Bonton Bakery has been baking bread since 1956, but also offers a whole store of delicious local and specialty foods today. So we're not just your daily bread source. Bonton has treats for your friends and workmates, cakes for those special occasions, monthly features so you can try something new each time you visit, including many healthy options. There's something for everyone. Bonton Bakery, open 9 to 5, Tuesday to Saturday. Online at bonton.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Order your favorite pizza or pizzas and use promo code Gregor and get 20% off all day, every day at papajohns.ca.
Creeping closer. 25 hours. That's right, folks. You got your plans? You know what you're doing tomorrow? Maybe you're going to a little double dip. Could go to the Riverhawks tonight and again tomorrow at 1. Or you're going to say we're going to go to the Elks and meet all of some of the, not all, but most of the great players in franchise history. I had a really good chat with Mike Riley, who is being a firefighter for a few years back home in the United States in Washington, state of Washington, that is. And is really enjoying that, with his wife and his 2 daughters, and, is having a lot of fun. There's so many players I hadn't seen in a few years. It was, like last night was the first time Mike was back. He came back for a game once, but not anything else. And so his daughters, he came with his wife, and they toured around and, showed him his daughters where they were born in the hospital and stuff, because they were born here. So it's kind of a cool trip for their family. And just, he said it was pretty, unreal to be in the room with so many of the great players of the past. So, and they'll all be there tomorrow if you're going to the game. Be sure to get in for all the autograph signing at the field house from 11:30 till 1:30. That's going to be a huge event. I think a lot of fun for people. Now, let's get to the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. And hey, like you, they're saying, you know what? Take a little extra time off this weekend. Enjoy the games. GS Construction saying, go Oilers, go. GS Construction. And they're hiring, by the way. Go to Indeed.com. As Mark Spector joins us. It was media day in Florida. Spec, you're running around. You're trying to, every guy's got a booth, and then they're all being talked to. Did you? Were you able to uncover any nuggets that were rather interesting?
It's kind of funny. You'd think that given us all that media, you'd be able to get a lot of work done. But there's so many guys and so many players and so many interviews that you can't ask 2 questions in a row because everyone's blurting stuff out. So, you know what? One of the interesting things for me was to hear we've all asked Matthias Ekholm about Bouchard and what he thinks about him. I mean, he gets asked that a lot, but I've never seen him wax so eloquently as he did today, Jason.
Okay.
We both know that Matthias Ekholm is such a well-spoken, smart veteran guy. Like you and me, we go to him all the time, right in that room. And he really talked about how he marvels at this young player, how he's gone from, he said, when the coach puts you with the young player like that and you're a veteran guy, they're trusting you, right? They're trusting you with this young, important player that we have. And he felt that trust. And he said, I took that very seriously. And he says, now we've gone to the point where I'm on the ice. I used to kind of watch out and watch him play and see what I could help him with. He says, now I'm on the ice. I'm just marveling at the way he plays. I'm like a fan. So the transition there, I thought, was really cool. Lots of stuff. Draisaitl talking about him and McDavid and what they've gone through the years and how they've become such close friends. And anyway, lots of neat stuff. A fun day. Getting exciting here, man. We're ready to go, boy. Let's do this.
Yeah, I'm sure the players themselves are. What about the on-ice stuff? You kind of know the lineup, what it's going to be. Who do you expect? Is Kane's going to play? At least Knobloch said that all week long. Yeah. So Kane's in playing with Holloway and Draisaitl. Henrique with Brown and Janmark. Who do you see being the 4th line?
Well, Henrique with Brown and Janmark. That's going to be your 3rd line, and which is kind of strange because Janmark's pretty much been a 4th line guy. There's your question, right? I mean, who's your 4th line left winger? I guess it's McLeod now, or maybe he's going to be the center on that line, right? If they don't dress one of Carrick or Ryan, it will be the first game this season, of this playoff season, that both those guys sat out.
Okay.
So
it's a right shot center, right? Like if they're both have a right shot center.
No, both guys are right shot centers. Ryan hasn't had a great playoff in the circle. He's like 45%. Carrick's better, 52, I think.
Yeah.
But McLeod's a centerman, left shot. So
Henrique's very good in the faceoff, sir.
Henrique's really good left shot. So, I mean, I could guess, but I'm here to tell you, Chris Knobloch's usage of his players and his taking guys in and putting guys out, and he's got Fogle coming in now. I'm not second guessing him for a second, man. He's on a wicked roll. He's like that guy shooting craps who's going so good, you just get behind him and put your money down. That's what Knobloch's like right now.
Yeah. Oh, it's true. Yeah. Like every button that needs pushing, he has pushed and has worked. Right. Yeah. No, it's true. And I think that's obviously been key for the Edmonton Oilers. And I'm just kind of curious if Fogel's getting in. What's your sense?
I think he's getting in. It
I
sure
think
looks
so
like
too.
it. I think so too. And because like if we're all going to decide and we feel like this series is a lot closer to the Vancouver series in terms of hitting and physicality than the Dallas series, I don't mind having Fogel involved. I mean, he's one of your fastest forwards. He's got really good size. I know he's not overly aggressive, but he'll finish a check in the forecheck for sure. And he comes at you fast and hard. So he sat out enough. The guy played 82 games for you this year. He scored 20 goals, 41 points, and he sat out 3 games in a row. As a head coach of a hockey team, I feel like I got to get this player back in. He deserves to play. He's earned his spot on this team, Jay.
Yeah. Could there be a smoke screen around Kane, or are you really positive he's going to play?
No, I'm positive he's going to play. Okay. I think whatever he's put up with this year, this sports hernia or whatever it is, he's clearly can play. How many did he not play like 75 games this year?
Yeah.
I believe he did. He's not missed he hasn't missed a playoff game yet, has he? I don't think he has.
The last game was the first one where he couldn't finish, right? He played like 4 minutes.
Yeah, he had that hit on Petrovic and he somehow got injured. No, I don't think there's a smoke screen. I think he's going to play. I don't know. I haven't seen a smoke screen yet from Knobloch. He tends to tell us when guys aren't playing. So, no, I think he'll play. I think they want to get a little bigger and faster with Fogel. I think that works for me. And that means probably I don't love Derek Ryan's chances of playing. If we're trying to get bigger and faster, it probably doesn't work great for Derek Ryan. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. And like, as I mentioned earlier, Spec, 0 goals for, 5 goals against in 36 minutes, 37 minutes, 5-on-5 against Dallas. Like those aren't great numbers, right? No. If you're not contributing any offense, you're not, winning enough faceoffs. So that's a factor for sure, right? So to me, if you have McLeod, Carrick, Perry as your fourth line, I'm not surprised. Or they might even go back to it. I know it didn't work a ton, Spec, but I wouldn't be stunned if they go back to Fogel, McLeod, and Perry.
Well, I don't love that line for Perry. I don't mind Fogel and McLeod together. I don't think Perry's got a place on that line. So no, that's not for me, but maybe they go back. Listen, they've tried that line a lot, and frankly, it never really worked very well, didn't it?
No, it's true.
I thought it had the makings of a hell of a line. I would say to you that when Holloway is a little bit more experienced, if you could get a little more game out of McLeod, I love a Fogel, McLeod, Holloway line, but I'm not sure I love it yet. So they may go back to it. I don't know why they would, Jay. It's never been a very good line.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think that's a totally valid point. Yeah. So, we'll see what they do. Broberg in for Desharnais to start on the blue line. That's kind of what we know. What did you get the sense of, Knobloch today, and Paul Maurice? Paul Maurice was talking about the Oilers. And you know what? Hey, they're a much better. Like I listened to a lot of his conversations, Spec, and Maurice went out of his way to talk about the Oilers' defensive game, and I think that's legit. Like Edmonton has been so vastly improved, right? Like their offense hasn't vastly improved because it's hard to improve it. It's been really good, right? Like their power play has been really good. It could only almost go down after a record-breaking season, right? Yes. But the Oilers 5-on-5 play, like I looked at Florida's and I wrote the numbers yesterday. Tampa Bay -18 real goals, -6 expected goals. The Rangers are +2 in real goals, -6 in expected goals. Boston was 0, it was even in expected goals, and they're plus quite a bit in real goals. But they didn't face a team like Edmonton, right? Like Edmonton was +51 in expected goals and +40 in real goals 5-on-5. Like the Panthers haven't faced a team like Edmonton 5-on-5.
Yeah, and this is why I think I think it fits great that all these people are picking the Panthers, because I think people are, frankly, the Oilers are being underestimated in this final. I'll say it out loud. Yeah. I think the Edmonton Oilers, there's still a residue of looking at the Oilers and thinking they're a two-man team, which is absolutely not what they are anymore. No. There's a skewed belief, and like you and me and all our listeners right now, we've watched this team inch by inch. We watched it, every shift of their existence. other people just kind of go on that narrative that, they sure are great offensively, but how good are they defensively? Look at that defense. Are they any good? You know, we all know that their defensive core is a lot better. We know that their PK is unbelievable. And we know that led by their best two offensive players, Draisaitl and McDavid, they have a way better defensive game, neutral zone play. They don't make the turnovers they used to make. They're a way better team than they used to be. We know it. I'm not sure the rest of the league quite knows it out east, frankly.
Oh, God, yeah. I would agree wholeheartedly with that. And so it's going to be up to Edmonton to showcase it, right? Like Edmonton could be all of a sudden people are like, what? Edmonton's good defensively. So, you know what? I don't think the players necessarily care about that, to be honest, or they shouldn't anyway. But, you know, I'm interested, Spec. The one thing the Oilers have done better this year that they never did before is game one of every series, they've been ready to go, right? Yeah. They beat LA in game one. They were up 4-1. They were ready to go against Vancouver. Even after a week off, they were up 4-1 in that game. And then we all know what happened, but they were up 4-1. So they were ready to play. Yes. And then they beat Dallas up 2-0, one in overtime. They were ready to play in that game. So I know it's a Stanley Cup final, but there's just this team, they've shown a lot of tendencies this year, a lot more positive tendencies. I won't be surprised if Edmonton I'll be surprised, I should say, if Edmonton isn't ready to play tomorrow. That's what.
No, they'll be ready for sure, and we've really seen you can tell that the guys have talked this out, and everyone said today. I heard it about 5 times. Look, this media day, we all do it. It's great, and this is the hoopla, and it's part of being here. But the minute we walk out of here, okay, we're back playing a hockey series here. We're going to wake up in the morning and it's back to being a normal day. Very difficult to get guys to talk about things like how, what a thrill it is to be in the Stanley Cup without every sentence ending in, but we've got more work to do. It's drilled into these guys. I think we've heard Mattias Ekholm say it, but you have for sure, where he said, when I was in Nashville, we dipped our toe into this thing and that was a bad idea. They won't be dipping their toe in for sure.
No, I think they'll be ready to go. Spec, have you found any fun places in Florida yet?
Yeah, we did. I found a very interesting. I watched the NBA game last night in a really nice little sports bar on a beach. Some joint called Nick's. Nice. Going to an Italian place tonight, and then a very famous hockey writers bar here called the Elbow Room.
Ooh.
Which will be frequented by a large portion of the traveling media this evening. So look out, pal.
Is it going to be windows down, elbows out, Spec?
Yeah, that's it. Elbows down, man. Just no tarps off. That's all.
Yeah. Yes, please, God. Yes, for the sake of humanity, don't do that.
No, there's only one Oilers fan that's going tarps off that everybody wants to see it. It ain't any of us.
It is funny. Edmonton hasn't been the Red Mile. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but
no.
Spec, enjoy Florida, and yes, the game officially 25 hours away. Can't wait.
Oh, well, pumped, man. I'm pumped. Everybody enjoy it this weekend, and I'll talk to you Monday. Can't wait for it.
You betcha. There's Mark Spector on the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. We got a lot of text, 833-401-1440 in our inbox, 833-401-1440. Here's the simple one. What is your prediction? You've heard ours. You've heard everybody else's. Let's hear yours. I need you to tell me who wins the series, how many games, and who scores the cup clinching game winner. 833-401-1440.
Hold on to your hockey helmet, Edmonton. On the Rocks is serving up 60-cent wings that fly off the plate faster than a slap shot.
And Molson Canadian for $4.50.
OTR's TVs, they're so clear.
You'll see the puck better than the ref.
Plus, every game night during Edmonton's playoff run gives you a chance to be part of the Sack Attack.
You could win a Hyman jersey.
This is our year.
And our time to cheer.
Be a part of the legend.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Jasper Ave 118th.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Roger Weird at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
Heavy hauling in the worst of climates can be dreadful. Take the stress off the job with AccuSteel Heavy Haul Trailers. They redefine heavy hauling with premium heavy haul trailers designed, manufactured, and battle tested in the harshest of conditions. And if your heavy haul trailer has issues, their full service and frame inspections will tell you exactly what's wrong and why. They take the guessing out of repair work with quality engineered frame repairs that get you back working quick. Discover the difference at AccuSteel.ca.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the word. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
The Brick's fabulous 96-hour sale is back. Check out amazing deals for 4 days straight, from Friday to Monday only. Find incredible savings in every department. Save up to 25% on love seats, recliners, and dining furniture, as well as up to 30% off home entertainment, furniture, and fireplaces. Visit the Brick this weekend to take advantage of these special prices during the 96-hour sale. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
As the flowers bloom, don't let sunken concrete dampen your spirits. This spring, Trademark Concrete Lift and Leveling is here to lift your spirits and your concrete. With our quick, friendly lifting process, we're ready to tackle those trip hazards and water pooling problems head on with our vast knowledge and expertise. Trademark Concrete Lift and Leveling, where your ground gets a new lease on life. Visit trademarkleveling.com or call 780-691-LIFT. That's 780-691-5438.
Why shop the big bin sale at Metal Supermarkets? Because they're clearing out everything in their off-cut bins at 30% off. Check out the wide assortment of miscellaneous metal and save. 30% off everything in the off-cut bins until this Saturday only. Hey, when's the last time something actually cost less? Exactly. And with the money you save, treat yourself to something posh. Like groceries. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com. It's City Ford's spring clear-out event. Get massive discounts, 0% financing, drive now, pay later. Get up to $10,000 credit card cash. Just pick what's best for you.
During this event, get massive discounts up to $22,000 on brand new F-150s, up to $8,000 on Edges and Broncos, up to $4,700 on brand new Escapes.
Get a 2024 Bronco Sport for $209 bi-weekly, or a 2023 F-150 Super Crew for only $297 bi-weekly.
We have 17 previously owned SUVs, all for under $500 a month, like a 2020 all-wheel drive Escape for only $187 bi-weekly. Plus, we have a huge selection of used trucks. Get a 2021 F-150 Super Crew for only $258 bi-weekly.
Exclusive to City Ford. With every purchase, spin and win a barbecue, pressure washer, TV, pizza oven, or a trip to Vegas.
Bottom line is, at City Ford, prices have been slashed, payments cut in half. And with 3 licensed appraisers on duty, you'll get more for your trade. But it's only at City Ford on the St. Albert Trail.
We continue on, waiting for your thoughts. Who wins? How many games? And who scores the eventual cup clinching goal? Which would be the game-winning goal. Not the insurance goal, but the game winner in whether it's game 4, 5, 6, or 7. If you think it's a sweep, maybe it's a 5-gamer, 6-gamer, or a 7-gamer. Who do you think it is? 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, for the Elks thing, do you need a ticket or anyone can come? Well, you need a ticket for sure. You can't get into the stadium without a ticket. So, yes, you will need a ticket to go to the event. And then, of course, you can get in for all the signing with the players, which should be, just a fantastic evening for I think longtime fans of the Elks to have that many of the great players of all time there. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be just honestly. I think it's going to be wonderful. The players are going to enjoy it. Lots of them. Hey, it's always nice to be remembered. I don't know anybody who doesn't. Right? That's why you go to high school reunions. It's always good to catch up people. They remember you. It's kind of how it goes. Let's get to our oil report brought to you by VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, where they have great savings right now. With if you're looking for lease, how about 0% lease on a XC60 only at Canada's #1 Volvo dealership, VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. As Alan Mitchell, aka Low Tide, joins us. LT, I want to get your thoughts. You might be one of the few guys in the room who had seen, the 1950 teams and beyond last night for the green and gold. What were your thoughts on the 75th anniversary?
I think it's awesome. I thought last night was terrific. Mandryk was the star right at the end. Just a wonderful speech. But I enjoyed Giz and Damon Allen and, of course, Warren Moon, Hugh Campbell. I thought it was a great presentation, a fantastic evening, and I'm even above and beyond all the opportunity to meet all these guys. I was coming out of the washroom and I met Brian Kelly, who looks like he could run a route, honest to God. And I told him he was an awesome player, and he said thank you, and it was a very nice reminiscence for both of us. And I think that if you're of a certain vintage, that getting to see these guys is going to be awesome for you and awesome for them too, because we remember, and so do they. And, whatever era, it doesn't matter what era you remember best. Those memories come flooding back when you see the people. And, a few of them, honest to God, I don't think people will be surprised. Some of the guys who played a long time ago look fantastic. I'm not saying they could play today, but they could probably beat me in a race down the street. I'll say that. It's an interesting bunch of people. And we had JMO on the lowdown. I know you did as well a while back, and he said it's the largest gathering of Elks ever, and I believe it, because a lot of people involved, and a lot of people who were part of that team were there last night, and I'm sure we'll be there for the rest of the week.
Oh yeah, no, it's going to be a massive event tomorrow. I think fans of the green and gold from any generation will be there, which would be good. You know what? You get a better crowd, and man, the team could sure make a win would go a long way, right? Start off with a home win. We had Damon Allen on the show earlier, and he says, "Hey man, you got to win at some point. Like you can do all the, the razzle dazzle and all that stuff, and bring in all the great players and honor Dwayne Mandryk, which totally should have happened, but you got to win now." And, that's this team, talking to a few players, they're confident that their team's going to be better. So we'll see tomorrow.
Well, and they're I think they're a more mature team now. I think that the last couple of years, it's gotten out of hand early. Mm-hmm. And when it does, you're scrambling, right? You can't recruit because, you're basically in the mode where, well, get through this year, try to, get as many fans in the seats as we can, but you're not competitive. And, it's an unusual position for this franchise to be in historically, but more recently, it's been pretty commonplace. So I think, honestly, winning Saturday will be a big deal. People will be excited if they can win.
Oh, wholeheartedly agree. Yeah, I think I know it's early, but to me, I view that as a rather large, important game. Just, to kind of set the tone a little bit, Al. For the season. And, Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals to segue to setting the tone now. The Oilers, I know they're not 3-0 in game 1, but they're 2-1, and they've started extremely well in all those games. Like, they got to set the tone for this series. You know what? We've had Craig Button. We've had a lot of people who think, Edmonton's probably getting underrated a little bit here. Florida's really good, don't get me wrong. But I think Edmonton has a chance here to say a little statement like, maybe some of you, because they're, and I know you and I have talked about this many times. People get stuck in their ways. They don't like a player. They never like the player. It doesn't matter, right? Fans do it, and I think management does it. Some scouts do it. The best ones don't do it, but and I think there's still a lot of people who view the Oilers as a team who cannot defend regularly enough.
Yeah, and I think that what is hard to sometimes understand is that the Oilers' top line and pairing, they don't really defend that much. They retrieve the puck and get it out quickly, so they're really not on their heels so much. They're more on their toes going forward, and there's such a sense of, oh my God, this team. Stuart Skinner's inexperienced, Nurse Cece. But, they're in the Stanley Cup final, and all of those players had an impact on them getting there. And the amount of pressure that's been on this organization, every player, everybody, since Connor McDavid was drafted, is enormous. And, I had a look at the roster in the day before Zach Hyman signed here, the Edmonton Oilers roster. And that wasn't that long ago, Jason.
No.
I am telling you, this team has added and added and added. The old line is get good players, keep good players. Well, that's what they've done. And this is a roster that, sure, you've got some worries about injuries and guys who are, maybe are not as fleet of foot as they were 3 or 4 years ago. But this is an excellent team. And the guys who are a little bit older, they know how to compensate. They know how to be in good position. So, yes, there are question marks, but there's question marks on every team. For an Oiler fan, though, you might not know what Florida's issues are. You certainly know what Edmonton's are. And I also think they've got a hell of a coach who can adapt mid-series, and that's going to be a big part of this next couple of weeks.
Al Mitchell, a.k.a. Lowtide, joined us. Al, what'd you make of the decision? Looks like Cece's back with Nurse, and Kulak's going to go with Broberg.
Well, I think that they're probably going to run the top two pairs pretty heavily, and they likely feel that they are just a little bit uncomfortable. Kulak's an excellent player, but playing the offside is really hard. And Cece is he sticks to the wall. He's a right-handed defenseman on the right side, and the other side of it is that what we don't know, and I think it's very important that we acknowledge, we don't know if Kulak is maybe less healthy or Cece is more healthy than in the past, or they just want that rugged tandem to play on the second pairing. We're not really sure, but I will say this, that pairings and lines are established in practice, and within a period, if there's a little bit of wobble, you could see something else. I think that people do overreact, and there's a sense of Nurse Cece, and immediately everybody rolls their eyes and sphincters tighten. These are NHL players. They're quality NHL players. They've gotten a lot of ice time in the National Hockey League, in Cece's case, before he got here. And they've been a part of this team making it to the Stanley Cup final. We never should forget that. That is a big deal. And I expect if the coaching staff feels like that tandem is going to work, then I expect it will. I'll be interested in seeing how much they play and how much the third pairing play. And we'll find that out, obviously, tomorrow night.
The lines, if we assume, Kane, everybody says he's going to play. So Kane, Holloway, Draisaitl, McDavid line's the same, Al. So it looks like it's going to be Henrik, Brown, and Janmark. So that leaves Derek Ryan, Carrick, McLeod, Fogle, and Perry. Which two won't dress in game 1?
Wow, that's a great question. Damn it. I would dress Carrick. I don't know if they will, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think Perry will play, but I also think Brown. I hope Brown plays. So who does that leave us on the wing?
So Brown's in for sure with Janmark and Henrique. So they're they could go McLeod, Fogle, and Perry and take Carrick and Ryan out. There's a risk because there's no right shot center.
Right.
So Or I think they could go Carrick with Fogle and Perry as more of a grind line potentially, and then it's McLeod out. I don't think they'll sit McLeod because of his speed, and I'm not sure they should. But to me, I think Derek Ryan's out. I think that's the one guy, and then it comes down to, Perry, McLeod, Fogle, or Carrick, and one of them is going to come out.
Yeah, and I don't. One thing that I've said, and I think that people overlook this because everybody always has their favorite player, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is Jason, this is the deepest team I can recall Edmonton having, at least since 2005. And in 2005, George Larac sat, and Harvey sat, and some really good players. Well, that's what's happening here. The fact that Warren Fogle has sat some games, or McLeod, or Ryan, or Carrick, that doesn't mean they're lesser players or not good players. It means the others actually have real depth. I'm talking real depth. Yes. And maybe people aren't used to that, but this does happen in a Stanley Cup final.
Oh God, yeah. I don't think it's a bad, the fact we can even have the conversation to me suggests how much deeper the organization is. And it's a good problem to have. To me, I'm like, man, Warren Fogle scored 21 goals this year, right? He's big, he skates. I did that interview earlier this week with Ken Holland, and they went after Warren Fogle, and Warren Fogle was top 5 in the NHL in that summer of players who could cycle the puck, hold on to the puck. And guess what? I had a conversation with Warren Fogle before they left to Florida, and we're just talking. And after it was done, I said, hey, do you mind if I share the story? He says, no, it's no problem. He says, you know what? When I got in the game, I played too safe. His words. He felt like he hadn't played safe all year. He got in the playoffs and he had a few bad things happen. Then he started playing safe and didn't play assertive. Wasn't using his speed. Wasn't holding on to pucks. It was just, got to chip it in rather than play. So it's a safe play rather than the confident play. And part of me tells me that's a conversation you've had with the coach, and the coach says, hey, we don't want you to play that way, because that's not why we got here. We didn't get here with Warren Fogle scoring 21 goals by you playing safe. Right now, you can play smart. Don't play safe. And so that, to me, it's a very interesting conversation. And I that's why I think Fogle's going to play. I think it kind of came across coaches like, hey, I explained to you why. You've been a big part of us this year. You scored 21 goals. We're going to get you back in, but we need you to be the Warren Fogle of the regular season and just play the same way.
Yeah, and the when they traded for Fogle, I remember I went back and I looked at I looked for quotes for by the coach Brindamore on he loved Fogle, and I do think that Fogle is a player because he is fast and he is big. I think he's a player made for the Stanley Cup playoffs, but sometimes you got to get your head on straight, right? It's not. We all do it, and especially when you're in your 20s as opposed to your 60s, is you have a tendency sometimes to overthink, or maybe in your mind you're hesitant, or you don't want to make a mistake, and that actually doubles down on making the mistake. And so if Fogle's got it, he can contribute. And the great thing about it is, I'm honest to God, I really think that when we look back on this Stanley Cup playoff run by the Oilers, no matter what happens, the simple fact that they had the courage of their convictions to put Pickard into the middle of a playoff series, and I do not know the last coach who would have done that. And say whatever you will, it worked. And so I think they probably feel like Fogle is a guy who can help them more than maybe some others, because he is fast, he's got good speed, and he is a rugged enough player to play in these games. So for me, Fogle's a guy that if they can unlock him, that's just one more forward. They got a ton of them. I mean, Gagne's not even played. They've got some really good forwards. Fogle has the speed, and I think they probably want to have as much speed as they possibly can here in game one. And Fogle has the added advantage of being a rugged guy.
Al, answer the question I've asked all the texters. Who wins, how many games, and who scores the cup clinching goal for whichever team who wins?
Okay, it's Edmonton Oilers in 7, and it'll be overtime, and it'll be Corey Perry.
Oh, jeez. I'm trying to think. When was the last Game 7 Stanley Cup overtime game? Ooh, that's a good question.
Man, long time ago.
Yeah.
Long time ago. Yeah.
Oof.
Now, I'll probably have passed out by the time the goal goes in, but it'll be fun.
Al, you just added to the chaos of Oiler fans. Overtime Game 7. They're cursing your name right now, Al, but you did pick them to win. So,
Bring it
my
on.
God. And you know what? That would be a game. Oiler fans, What's great about any playoff series is you invite a new group of fans who become fans for life because of the new emotional connection they have to the team.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like there's some younger fans who have never really felt this, and all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, like this is a part of me now. Like I'm more of a fan. And there's some who maybe were out and now they're back in. And if it ends up winning, you just get more fans. It's just because it's that euphoric feeling that fans feel when their team wins. And that's something that sticks with them.
Yeah, I've got a friend who's not terribly a big hockey fan, has gotten the fever here in the last, whenever this started, and they're having fun, but only when the game's over. Like during the game, it's stressful, man, and why the hell did I get involved in this? Well, that's what happens, and I do think that like if people who don't enjoy sports, I feel badly for them because
I do too.
Brilliant way to cheer for your community, to be part of a group of people who cheer together to be like a community inside the fan base, and it doesn't impact you in any way unless you let it. But the great thing is you can let it. You can let your emotions fly, and I love it. I love it for this community. Edmonton in the Stanley Cup final is Edmonton at its absolute best.
Al, enjoy the postseason Stanley Cup final.
Oh, man. Cannot wait. You have a good week.
You too. There's Al Mitchell, a.k.a. Lotad. I think it's very true. Very well said. Come back. We got a lot of text messages. Obviously most of you are picking the Oilers to win, as you should. You're Oilers fans. I get it. But the overtime are not over. Well, in Al's case, it was overtime, but the game winner, a lot of different votes. Nice. I like it. We'll return on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Use the promo code Gregor50, Gregor50. Get in because it ends when the series is over. That's when it ends. PlayAlberta.ca.
For 50 years, GS Construction has been laying the groundwork for your community. But they couldn't have done it without building their employees from the ground up. Many of GS Construction's employees started without any industry experience at all. But because of such programs such as GS's Next Person Up, they've gone on to become valued members of the team. If you want to join the team as a laborer, pipe layer, or pipe layer's helper, lead hand, operator, top man, or woman, or water and sewer foreman, visit gsconstruction.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Hey Edmonton, ready to power up your projects with unbeatable strength and efficiency? Step into Edmonton Kubota, where our massive inventory meets all your needs. From rugged tractors and loaders to nimble mowers and utility vehicles, we've got the machines that work as hard as you do. And guess what? This month, we're rolling out exclusive deals that'll make your heart race faster than our engines. Drive down to Edmonton Kubota or visit EdmontonKubota.com to discover how we can boost your efficiency, productivity, and fun. Edmonton Kubota, powering your passion with every turn of the key. What's cracking at Cattail? Their men's league. Play 18 holes for 18 weeks on Tuesdays from 2 to 6 p.m. Then complete the day and head to Out of Bounds, recently ranked one of Canada's top 10 in fine dining restaurants. For details, visit cattailcrossing.ca.
Your Edmonton Riverhawks want to be your wingman during turning singles into doubles night on Monday, June 10th, featuring dating fun with love at first light.
Get your tickets today to watch the Hawks play at gohawks.ca.
For a limited time at McDonald's, enjoy the tasty breakfast trio. Your choice of chicken or sausage McMuffin or McGriddles with a hash brown and a small premium roast coffee for $5 plus tax. Available until 11 a.m. at participating McDonald's restaurants. Price excludes delivery.
An accident. And it wasn't your fault.
How do I get the compensation and support I need?
How do I get treatment paid for?
Why does an insurance adjuster want to meet with me?
Where do I even start with all this paperwork?
What if I never get better?
Feels like no one has my back.
Robinson LLP does. Visit RobinsonLLP.com to find your injury lawyer. Robinson LLP, the recovery team.
Until June 8th, make the shift to more savings at Fountain Tire and get up to $200 off a set of 4 select tires, plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150 or more. Restrictions apply. Financing available. Book online today. I can tell by the look on your face you're thinking about it.
As the flowers bloom, don't let sunken concrete dampen your spirits. This spring, Trademark Concrete Lift and Leveling is here to lift your spirits and your concrete. With our quick, friendly lifting process, we're ready to tackle those trip hazards and water pooling problems head on with our vast knowledge and expertise. Trademark Concrete Lift and Leveling, where your ground gets a new lease on life. Visit trademarkleveling.com or call 780-691-LIFT. That's 780-691-5438.
It's City Ford's spring clear-out event. Get massive discounts, 0% financing, drive now, pay later. Get up to $10,000 credit card cash. Just pick what's best for you.
During this event, get massive discounts up to $22,000 on brand new F-150s, up to $8,000 on Edges and Broncos, up to $4,700 on brand new Escapes.
Get a 2024 Bronco Sport for $209 bi-weekly, or a 2023 F-150 Super Crew for only $297 bi-weekly.
We have 17 previously owned SUVs, all for under $500 a month, like a 2020 all-wheel drive Escape, only $187 bi-weekly. Plus, we have a huge selection of used trucks. Get a 2021 F-150 Super Crew for only $258 bi-weekly.
Exclusive to City Ford. With every purchase, spin and win a barbecue, pressure washer, TV, pizza oven, or a trip to Vegas.
Bottom line is, at City Ford, prices have been slashed, payments cut in half. And with 3 licensed appraisers on duty, you'll get more for your trade. But it's only at City Ford on the St. Albert Trail.
When we return on Monday, we will have a game 1 to discuss, setting up game 2. It's going to be awesome. We got a lot of text line in 833-401-1440. I would say right now, hey, we're in Edmonton. I'm not surprised, but the majority of you have chosen the Oilers. Quickly, hey, Gregor, did Gazdic get kicked off the panel for the final because of his Canucks fan comments from Mark? I don't think so, Mark. Luke wasn't on their main panel all year. Right? The main panel was Jennifer Botterill, Elliot Friedman, Kevin Bieksa. And that there's a pecking order. That's what happens. Right? So that's who it was all year long. That was their main group, just like Simpson and Cuthbert are their main play-by-play and color guy. And you whittle it down, and now you get to one group, just like the officials. So like Luke Gazdic was a guy who improved and got better as the season went along and got more expanded roles, but he wasn't their main go-to guy. So no, I don't that has nothing to do with it. Trust me. That it's irrelevant. At least I'm really going to hope so. I'm going to base it on the fact that who did they use the most all season? That's usually what happens during the year when you get to the playoffs. So that's how I'd view it. So away we go. Hey guys, you think the Elks should honor Marco Sinkar, maybe the best local town to play for Edmonton? Well, Brian Fryer might have an argument about that. There's some pretty good O-linemen too, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he was a really good player, but they don't just honor you because you're local, right? I don't think they need to do that. Me personally, I wouldn't do it Northside, Mike. So we'll see. Hey boys, so here are Oilers in 5. Lots of people are picking Corey Perry. We got a few Bouchards. Connor Brown has a few votes in. Leon Hyman. Connor Brown's up to 3. Nugent Hopkins gets his first from Chris. Bob the Builder's going with Hyman. Hyman from Old Man River Rob. Painter has Evan Bouchard, so 2 for Bouchard. Connor Brown, that's 4 for Brown. From Trevor. Lots of people are going on the Brown train right now. I'll be honest. Now, I got to eventually get there. Bouchard Cup winner, McDavid, the MVP. Orders in 5. Ooh, orders in 4 from Conrad. Now that's ballsy, Conrad, going with Perry. Finally, a McDavid. Surprised we didn't go, but McDavid on home ice. That's the other thing. Oilers in 6. A lot of you are picking Oilers in 6. Imagine if they win it at home. Oh, my goodness. They win it anywhere. It's going to be fun. Let's be honest. But if they win it on home ice on a Friday night, what a weekend that's going to be. Oh, jeez. Yeah. Lots of people will be falling in love that weekend, or at least that night. Be safe, everyone. Be smart. Don't be inebriated. Get home safe from the games. Take an Uber, take a cab, walk. I don't care. Just don't drink and drive. Don't weed and drive. Be smart. Enjoy Riverhawks, Elks, Oilers, and the Stingers. It's a great weekend. Be safe. Enjoy it. We'll break it all down on Monday. On behalf of Connor Halley, I'm Jason Gregor. If you missed any parts of the show, go to jasongregor.com. All the individual interviews are there, Damon Allen and more, or anywhere where you get your podcast. Let's get to the Command Sports 1440 update, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home the no payments, no interest for 1 full year on your AC unit. Stay cool all summer at legacyheating.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Week 1 in the CFL rolls on tonight. Hamilton and Calgary taking on the Stamps. That one gets going at 7 o'clock. Tomorrow, the Elks hosting the Saskatchewan Roughriders down at Commonwealth to kick off their season kickoff 2 p.m. The Riverhawks in action tonight with their home opener taking on Nanaimo. First pitch, 7:05. These two teams meeting again tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Major League Baseball this evening. The Blue Jays are in action. First pitch not till 7:40 as they're down in Oakland taking on the Athletics. These two teams meeting tomorrow and Sunday. 2:07 starts. You can catch both those games right here on Sports 1440 AM radio feed. Only a couple games underway right now. Pirates lead the Twins 2-0. Nationals have a 2-0 lead over the Braves. And the Guardians lead the Marlins 2-0 as well. Yankees, Dodgers, Cubbies, Reds, all scoreless. And the Brewers beating up on the Tigers 8-0 in the top of the 5th. Later tonight, the Giants take on the Rangers. White Sox up against the Red Sox. The Mariners in Kansas City. Cards host the Rockies. Astros take on the Angels. And the Padres host the Diamondbacks in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark leading the way for the Fever after one. She's got 5 points. Fever on top of the Mystics 28-19. Still to come, Aces, Storm, Wings in Los Angeles, and the Lynx travel to the desert to take on the Mercury. And at the Memorial, after 2 rounds, Scotty Scheffler topped the leaderboard 9 under par. Victor Hovland and Adam Hadwin both 6 under. Other Canadians to make the cut. Corey Connors at even. Taylor Pendrith 1 over. Nick Taylor 2 over par. And it looks like just one Canadian missing, Mackenzie Hughes, finishing 6 over when the cut was +4. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Up next, we've got another edition of Turn Sports. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
When I'm wondering, do I even send this back tomorrow? He's going to be